Welcome to Tonight in America. I'm your host, Donterius Jones, and we have an exciting show today for you. I want to welcome you back to the stream. As you can see, I made some changes right quick. If you already haven't noticed, as you can see, my logo is back on the screen. That's because I decided to use a new streaming browser now. I'm no longer using StreamYards now. I'm using Streamlabs. So it's going forth. I'm going to be using Streamlabs as my new streaming browser now. Makes it much more easier for me because I was having a lot of trouble dealing with some technical difficulties, I will say. So, but anyways, I want to welcome everyone back to the stream. We have an exciting show today for you. So I'll cover our feature story tonight. We're talking about who is Nick Shirley. Patrick David interview that he conducted with Nick Shirley about his viral video going around, and also we will be reacting a lot of updates about what's going on in Minnesota. Forgive me, Minnesota. We going updates on X from a bunch of independent journalists on X that are doing way more news coverage and way more breakdowns of the supposed fraud that's going on in Minnesota. So, anyways, I want to apologize for yesterday. I was supposed to come back later on in the night. It took me hours because I was trying to work on the Streamlabs and try to get it to work. I did some tests multiple times, and unfortunately, I could not get it to work. That's why I had to change streaming browsers, of course. That's why I went to Streamlabs instead now. Literally just switched it over, and then bam, we're back. So let me know how everything sounds too as well in the comment section. You know, I'm sorry it took me so long to come on. I literally just got up not too long ago. I was supposed to go live at 11. I got up at like 12:30, and I literally have to eat something and then take a shower. So my lips look a little bit chapped. I might have to go put some on my lips in a little bit. But yeah, sorry. But again, sorry for delay. Won't happen again. Can't make no promises. But anyways, we are here though. We are here. We're live and we are doing we're live and we're ready to cover the news. So our feature story, like I said, we're talking about the Nick Shirley interview and we're reacting to some more news coming out of Minnesota. And then we're also, our first story tonight, we're going to react to Trump holds news conference as Netanyahu visits Mar-a-Lago. This was a couple of days ago. I was supposed to come back and cover this. This was on December the 29th. And as you know, Benjamin Netanyahu sticked around throughout the whole week, pretty much going into New Year's Eve. He was there at the White House during New Year's Eve for the celebration. And let you know how fucking cuck Trump is to this guy. This guy, Trump loves Netanyahu so much. So that's just buddy. You know, his butt buddy or whatever you want to call it. Let me stop. But anyways, we're going to dive right on into the news.
People could come in. Man, come on over, fellas. We had a big meeting with a lot of people, a lot of talent from Israel and from the U.S. And I think we came to a lot of conclusion and conclusions. And there's very little difference in what we're looking at and where we want to be, where we want to go. And so I just want to thank you for spending time. I know you're going to be over here for a couple of days, and maybe we'll be surprising us on New Year's Eve. That'll be fine.
Oh, thank you.
And it's wonderful seeing you and Sarah and your whole group. Very talented group. We've done very good work together, and it'll continue. So thank you very much, baby.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. I have to say that in addition to what I said, that we've never had a friend, even close, a friend, as President Trump in the White House. I think he's been extraordinary in his friendship and his support for Israel.
Bro has done everything possible to please these people. You know, the Jewish people have never been so happy to have Trump in office to have Trump by their side, to have Trump do what he's doing, especially for Israel. No, quite frankly, it's just disappointing because I wish he gave this much energy for America than he does for a foreign nation that controls our politics. You know, it's so funny to me to see this and to see that how much these Israel first Jews will go up there every chance they get and always praise Trump, call him, you know, as Mark Levine called it, the first Jewish president in history. The very see, like, Trump's not even ethnically a Jew, but the problem is they view him as much because of how much he gives them so much of what they ask for. Of course, because they donated to his campaign. They control the politics. AIPAC is making donations to a bunch of politicians. Now they're doing it in incognito mode, where they're donating to politicians in other ways. So that way it is not very obvious that they're donating to politicians to buy them off. Oh, let me turn on my light too as well. I notice why I look so dark in my video. I'll let this keep playing.
His principal positions, his willingness to just cut through, get to the essence of things, and I don't say that as a compliment. I just mean it. People have heard me say that behind your back, Mr. President, many times. But I want to say something else. I think we have a partnership, if I can quote you, second to none. I think it's allowed us to do enormous things. You know, people said there was a different conception at one time, which means that America can advance its interest in the Middle East if it opens a lot of daylight between it and Israel. And President Trump has done the exact opposite. He's achieved remarkable things in the Middle East because we've worked together. We talk about our ideas. Sometimes we have different ideas, but we work it out. And most of the time we see eye to eye. But it's been a remarkable experience, and this was a very, very productive meeting. And may I say, a very good lunch. Thank you. Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you very much, baby.
And thank you for your support. It's meant from the heart.
Thank you. You know, as I said outside, he's been a wartime prime minister, and we were, well, look, I guess I could say I was a wartime president in more places than just Israel, if you think about it. But Israel was a big factor, and we're with you, and we'll continue to be with you. And a lot of good things are happening in the Middle East. We have peace in the Middle East, and we're going to try and keep it that way. I think we will be very successful in keeping it that way. And you've been a great friend, and I've been a great friend to you and to Israel. It's been my honor. And the award that I was given was really surprising and very much appreciated.
Well, President Trump has broken so many conventions to the surprise of people, and then they figure out, oh, well, maybe, he was right after all. So we decided to break a convention too, or create a new one. That is to award the Israel Prize, which in almost our 80 years, we've never awarded it to a non-Israeli. And we're going to award it this year to President Trump. This was announced formally over lunch.
Trump has been seeding about that. Not winning the fuck. I forgot. I just literally just woke up. Fuck. The Nobel Peace Prize. Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. He's been seeding so much about that he hasn't won it. So now to the point where he's accepting the Israeli Peace Prize. It's like, yes, I get it. He's brokered a lot of peace deals to end a lot of wars, especially, but the main war that he has not ended yet is still going on. And now, of course, I'm talking about the Ukraine and Russia war, which to this day, the body count of that is clearly steadily going up. That's one of the main wars that he should have ended too, as well. Besides the Gaza genocide that was going on, we still don't have anywhere near close to ending that war between Russia and Ukraine. And they did like a joint press conference too, as well. Zelensky and President Trump. But at the same time, we're still nowhere near close to ending that battle right now compared to all the other ones that he did end, of course. And yes, I'm not saying, I'm not going to shit on him, the fact that he hasn't not ended a bunch of other wars that have caused a lot of harm to innocent people. But at the same time, we still have the Ukraine and Russia war that's still actively going on right now that has not ended.
By our Minister of Education, who's responsible for the Israel Prize. It's going to be awarded to President Donald J. Trump for his tremendous contributions to Israel and the Jewish people. I think it's such a fitting thing, and it would honor us, obviously, Mr. President, if you could visit Israel in that occasion on our Independence Day. But I have to say that this reflects the overwhelming sentiment of Israelis across the spectrum. They appreciate what you've done to help Israel and to help our common battle against the terrorists and those who would destroy our civilization. So, again, that's an expression of thanks and appreciation.
Thank you, baby, very much. That really is a great honor. Any questions, please? We'll go pretty quickly because pretty much we agree on most of the things, and you would know what most of those things are. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to know if you and the Prime Minister talked about having Israel pull back its troops before Hamas fully disarms. I know that's been an issue. Did you push for that today?
Well, we talked about Hamas and we talked about disarmament, and they're going to be given a very short period of time to disarm, and we'll see how that works out. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in charge of that from our side, but if they don't disarm as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them. And we don't want that. We're not looking for that, but they have to disarm within a fairly short period of time.
Was Israel withdrawing its forces?
Well, that's a separate subject. We'll talk about that.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. President, did you have a message for the Prime Minister about the West Bank? And are you at all concerned that settler violence, Israeli settler violence, could be undermining the peace plan?
Well, we have had a discussion, big discussion for a long time on the West Bank, and I wouldn't say we agree on the West Bank 100%, but we will come to a conclusion on the West Bank.
If I could ask, what is the disagreement?
Well, I don't want to do that. It'll be announced at an appropriate time. But he will do the right thing. I know that. I know him very well. He will do the right thing. Yes?
There is a growing fear of a confrontation between Israel and Turkey. How are you going to ease this tension given the fact that President Erdogan calls Mr. Netanyahu Hitler and compares Israel to the Nazis?
Well, I know President Erdogan very well, and as you all know, he's a very good friend of mine. And I believe that, and I do respect him, and Bibi respects him, and they're not going to have a problem. They're not going to have a problem. I know him very well. And you've seen me do things with President Erdogan in Turkey that nobody else could have done. We're not going to have a problem. He's done a fantastic job. I'm with him all the way. I'm with Bibi all the way. Nothing's going to happen. Yes?
Mr. President, are you concerned that Israel is not moving quickly enough to phase 2 of the peace plan?
Well, I'm not concerned about anything that Israel's doing. I'm concerned about what other people are doing or maybe aren't doing. But I'm not concerned. They've lived up to the plan. They're strong. They're solid. And sometimes they don't understand when somebody violates something that you want to give them a second chance. Well, we'll give them a couple of second chances. But no, Israel's lived up to the plan 100%. Don't forget, we made the plan.
Israel's broken the ceasefire at least multiple times during this during this little peaceful time period that they're supposed to be withdrawn completely from the West Bank. I get it that they said they want Hamas to also disarm, and that's fine. But it's clear as day they don't want another puppet government put in charge of the Palestinians. That's the only reason why they're taking so long to disarm, because they know if they disarm, not only will Israel go ahead and just execute them all, most likely, they know that if they disarm, they're going to put in a puppet government that's not in the best interest of the Palestinians, but more in the interest of the United States and Israel. So it's pretty much just kind of like be damned if I do and damned if I don't in this instance, because they know if they do, they're fucked. If they don't, then they're fucked either way it goes, because then the fighting will just continue on. So Hamas is really thinking about its long-term longevity compared to short-term possible demise. So it's not really in their best interest to disarm. I'm giving you their perspective. Not like I agree with it or whatever, but I'm giving you their perspective about why they haven't disarmed just yet.
Possible by taking out Iran. And speaking of Iran, I hope they're not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but very quickly to eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading that they're building.
Man, that's not something you want to hear, especially considering that we do not need more of warfare. Why are we trying to go and fight Iran about their nuclear weapons program? Well, they're not even building nuclear weapons. Let me take that back. Nuclear enrichment program. That's what it is. That's what they're enriching uranium, because uranium can be used for more than just nuclear weapons. There is no proof that they are building nuclear weapons. I am open to the possibility that maybe they are. But if that's the case, I mean, Israel illegally obtained theirs, and we haven't really pressed them about that, but we're pressing Iran about theirs. But again, they always say jihad is this, jihad is that. Look, I'm open to the possibility of whatever, but if I'm not mistaken, Iran is like one of the more I wouldn't say peaceful, because they do have a massive protest that's going on, which I'm going to talk about that. I'm contemplating should I do a stream tomorrow on Saturday, because I'm probably gonna. I was supposed to stream tonight again, but I'm probably gonna push that to Saturday morning. But the point of the matter is, Iran is not as. It's similar to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is more like, it's becoming more Western. Let me pull my big mug up here right quick while I talk about this. Yeah, so Saudi Arabia is more like, it's becoming more westernized right now in the Middle East. And people look at Iran. Iran is trying to be that way, come off as being like they champion women's rights. Of course, they allow women to be in political positions in Iran. They allow women to basically, I think wearing a hijab is optional in Iran. So, and then people look at Saudi Arabia too as well. It's also westernized or whatever. I would argue Saudi Arabia is probably more westernized than Iran, because Iran is run by a monarch. It's the same case as you could say about Saudi Arabia as well. But the clear difference is Saudi Arabia is way more in bed with United States and Israel compared to Iran, who's basically kind of in bed with China and Russia. You know, they have their own strategic allies, and Saudi Arabia chose to be strategic allies with us because of so much currency trading we're doing with them. We buy their oil, they buy their oil, and they use their money to expand their economy. They spend everything about Saudi Arabia to build some of these mesmerizing, as I like to call it, attractions. And then they're also trying to compete in futuristic AI build. They have a big project coming up. I can't think of the project in the back of my head right now, but that's the type of stuff that you're getting from like Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. It's so long. Now, I say this to say, let me go and to say this point. Iran is more or less like, it's sort of kind of like in Saudi Arabia's cases, where it's a little bit westernized, but then it's not completely. You know, there's at some point you can do the comparisons, but then it stops at some point. But the point of the matter is, Iran stands in the way of Israel becoming the top hegemon in the Middle East. We've already destabilized a lot of countries. We already paid off so many other countries to where they're under our thumbs, and then they're doing the bidding of the United States, along with watching Israel's back no matter what. That's why during like the 12-day war, I forgot which country shot some Iranian drones out the sky. I'll have to look back that. I'll have to check that on the side right here. But the point of the matter is, Iran is pretty much like one of the few countries by itself, besides having like the Houthis, the Hamas, and it used to be the Syrian, used to have Syrian fighters, but I mean, of course, Bashar al-Assad got overthrown by the Syria rebels, which were basically Al-Qaeda 2.0, and basically got driven out of his own country to go live in Russia right now, where he's currently playing video games right now. That's the news I've heard about him. But the point of the matter is, right now, this whole fight with Iran is not in the interest of the United States. It's more of the interest of Israel. We're not doing this for our own betterment. We're doing this to expand Israel's expansion project, which is called the Greater Israel, where they expand Israel from this little country into this vast, huge country that's literally on the Syria border too as well. That's why they've been going heavily hard on bombing Syria and basically taking over half of their country, because that's part of the Greater Israel project. So, and the only one that stands in their way right now, currently speaking, is Iran. Iran is the only one left to stand in Israel's way. This is why they're pushing so hard for more warfare, because they know if more warfare comes, we would have to get involved to save Israel's life, basically save their own ass. And quite frankly, it doesn't do nothing good for us. It's just a waste of taxpayer dollars. And we should let them fight their own fight. If they want to pick their fight with Iran, let them go and fight Iran. We don't have to jump involved and get ourselves involved in a conflict that does not involve the United States indirectly. Iran is not attacking us. They're attacking Israel. Hell, even when we bombed their nuclear facilities, they said they were going to retaliate by bombing the base in Qatar, or Qatar, if people don't know what I'm talking about. They bombed the base in Qatar, but they let the United States know ahead of time that this was going to come. So that way they can evacuate the soldiers. So that way they just bomb like an empty facility. And they didn't do that much damage. And that lets you know, like, ask questions like, why are we going to war with Iran if Iran is doing something as nice as like that, to letting us know ahead of time that, hey, we're going to bomb you as a retaliation. You've bombed our nuclear facility, so we have to retaliate. So that's the issue about why it is that BB is pushing so hard to continue the escalation, because it's for the Greater Israel Project and to destabilize Iran, because they were on the forget what was it called? I know. I'll find it in a minute. I forgot what it was called. But they're part of they're one of the countries that was on this fuck, I forgot what was it called. Damn, I just had it at the top of my head. But anyways, it was one of the many countries that was on this list, basically, of countries to go and commit to regime change and destabilized all these countries. It'll come back to me later. So Iran is the last one standing on that list of countries that we haven't committed to regime change just yet, and we haven't destabilized just yet. But it's coming. So the conflict's not over with as much as I want it to be. We're still very much cannot really just rest easily. At any moment, we can go back to war. So there is no resting right now. There is no picking your feet up, just relaxing and saying, hey, all these wars are ending and we're going back to peaceful times. No, we're very much not in peaceful times in this next year, pretty much. 2026 is a year of, I hate to say, it might be more warfare. It might be an actual real war with Iran that might actually begin on the Israel's thumb. So let's jump back into the press conference.
Weapons and other things, and if they are, they're not using the sites that we.
It was the clean break memo. That's what I remember. It was the clean break memo. I forget. It just came back to me.
Obliterated, but they're using possibly different sites. We know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, and I hope they're not doing it because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip both ways. I don't want to waste a lot of fuel. Okay?
Mr. President, your last remarks regarding the pardon request of Prime Minister Netanyahu, Herzog office told us that you have not talked after the official request of Prime Minister Netanyahu. Pardon. Can you clarify to us? Did you talk
Which
about
request
it?
are you talking about?
With the President Herzog, the Israeli President Herzog. Did you talk with him directly?
Erdogan?
Herzog. The Israeli
You're
President.
talking about pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got to say that. No, I think he's going to be in great shape. He's a wartime prime minister at the highest level. He's achieved tremendous success. And I'll say it, if you had 8 out of 10 prime ministers in his position right now, or before right now, maybe, you wouldn't have Israel any longer. Israel would not exist. I'd say two of them would, and 8 of them wouldn't. Those are not good odds. You needed a very special man to really carry through and really help Israel through this horrible jam. These are major factions. And it started with our negotiation with Iran. I think it probably started with Soleimani. That was really where you mentioned that today. We started with Soleimani, bad guy, doing bad things, hurting a lot of people, killing American soldiers and other soldiers. But it started right there would probably be the starting point. And then from that point forward, but you have a wartime prime minister at the highest level. There could be other wartime prime ministers, but they'd lose. He won. And I think the people of Israel appreciate it. I think a lot of the people in the world appreciate it, actually. And because of that victory, we were able to get peace in the Middle East. If you had a different kind of a personality, if you had a weak person or a stupid person, and there are plenty of both of them, you would not have had success, and you might not have Israel. And you report for Israel. I know you're very proud of it, and you do a great job. You might not have a job because there might not be an Israel right now if you had a different prime minister. That's a big statement, but to me, it's a very simple statement to make. I'm looking at Pete Hegseth, and he's sort of nodding. If they don't have a strong prime minister, Pete, you might not have Israel today. I think he'll go down in the record books. And, you know, I was a big help. I'll be honest with you, big help. Somebody said in the room, if you don't have Trump, you needed a proper combination of everything. And if you didn't have that combination, which they had, you would not have an existing Israel right now. And the people of Israel know it. That's why they like me, and that's why they actually like him. He's got a little bit of a love-hate more than I do over there. But you know what? Even the haters have a lot of respect for him. There's a lot of jealousy about him. A lot of jealousy. Jealousy is a bad word. But I believe you would not have Israel right now, so it's a big deal. Yeah, please.
A recent poll showed that as many as half of Gazans would be willing to leave the Gaza Strip if afforded the opportunity to do so. Back in February, you said that all Gazans would be.
I heard the number today, half of Gaza would leave. I've always said it. I said if they were given the opportunity to live in a better climate, they would move. They're there because they sort of have to be. I think it would be a great opportunity, but let's see if that opportunity presents itself. But we're helping the people of Gaza a lot. So is Israel, by the way. So we'll see what happens. But I saw that there was a poll. It was actually more than half the people would leave if they were given the opportunity. And I've been saying that for a long time. To me, it was common sense. So it's interesting.
Why wouldn't countries accept them?
Look, let's not talk about it because we don't want the controversy. Right now, we're helping Gaza. But if they were given the opportunity, I think even higher than that, the group that did the poll is usually, I call them negative pollsters. You have a lot of them. And yet this poll was, I think, very accurate, other than it would be more than half the people if given the opportunity, but they haven't been given that opportunity. So we'll see what happens.
You reach a point of understanding regarding Syria.
We do have an understanding regarding Syria. Now, with Syria, you know, your new president, I respect him. He's a very strong guy, and that's what you need in Syria. You can't put a choir boy. You can't put somebody that's a perfect person. Everything's nice, no problems in life. You have the opposite there. He's a strong guy. We get along with him great. I can't ask for any more. He's been with us all the way. We had that mishap with ISIS, and he was with us all the way. He was fighting us. He was fighting them. So I hope Israel. I'm sure that Israel and him will get along. I will try and make it so that they do get along.
Mr.
I think they will. Maybe do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, well, our interest is to have a peaceful border with Syria. Our interest is to have, and we openly say it, we want to make sure that the border area right next to our border is safe. We don't have terrorists. We don't have attacks. And we also want to secure our Druze friends. And by the way, I think not only the Druze, but other minorities, especially the Christians, should be protected as well in Syria and throughout the Middle East and in Nigeria. In your efforts, we back completely because Christian communities are beleaguered around the world and especially in the Middle East, but in parts of Africa too. And we stand for the same thing.
And don't forget, it was President Erdogan that helped very much get rid of a very bad ruler of Syria. That was President Erdogan. And he never wanted the credit for it, but he really gets a lot of credit. Bibi agrees with that. I agree with it. I mean, I know it. And President Erdogan should get a lot of good credit for what he did. He got rid of some very bad people. And, you know, they've been wanting to do that for 1,000 years with different names, but for 1,000 years in Syria. President Erdogan did it, and we give him a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit. But I think it's going to work out well between Syria and Israel.
Mr. President,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The Lebanese government, so what we saw, is not meeting the terms of the ceasefire agreement, has failed to disarm Hezbollah, actually. In your view, should Israel strike the terrorist organization again?
Well, we're going to see about that. We'll see about it. The Lebanese government is at a little bit of a disadvantage, if you think of it, with Hezbollah. But Hezbollah has been behaving badly, so we'll see what happens.
Mr. President, on China,
Also, with another operation of Israel in Iran, you said before the meeting with Netanyahu that you are in support of Israel if the ballistic missile project will take on, and also the nuclear weapon. But after the meeting, after what you know from the intelligence, how close are we to another war with Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that, but Iran may be behaving badly.
Tell me why I was scrolling on my Facebook, and I see that a black like literally, I'm not even joking when I say that. When I say this, I'm scrolling on my Facebook, and I'm seeing black people saying we can't be racist. We have no systematic power, and I'm starting to understand like how dumb majority of these niggas are. They're talking about systematic racism. Racist, by definition, yes, it applies to any and all racists. Not just one ethnic group, all groups can be racist, but one race sits up here and clearly doesn't understand the words that they're reading. They're reading systematic racism and think that doesn't apply to them. Anyone can, first off, anyone can practice systematic racism. Now, as far as like one ethnic group who has more power than the other one, it's not even white people, if we're going to be completely honest. I mean, that's just dumb. We all know what group that is, and they have enclaves, whether that be in New York or that be in Florida. They all have enclaves. And you know which group I'm talking about. They look white, but they're not white. So, black people don't understand words that they're reading per usual, bro. What is new? What is new?
It hasn't been confirmed, but if it's confirmed, look, they know the consequences. You know, consequences will be very powerful, maybe more powerful than the last time. Yeah. And Iran should have made a deal the last time. I gave them the option. I said, you can make a deal, do it. I told them, do it, and they didn't believe me. Now they believe me.
Do you have evidence that Iran is behaving badly, and what do you mean by that?
This is just what we hear, but usually, where there's smoke, there's fire. Have you heard the expression?
But what do you mean related to the nuclear capability?
Well, no, I'm hearing that they're not nuclear yet, but maybe nuclear too. The sites were obliterated, but they're looking at other sites. That's what I've heard. They're looking. So it'll take a long time. They're not going to go back to where they were, but they have other places they can go. And if they're doing that, they're making a big mistake. Yeah, please. There's no reason for them to do it.
Mr. President, is the United States currently open to engaging in bilateral discussions with Tehran? We're hearing reports from numerous countries that there may be some discussions. Is that something you would support, or something that is,
I would.
You would support that?
I would, yes.
Right now. Thank you, sir.
I have been, by the way, before the war, I would support that. I said to them, baby, I said, let's negotiate. And they didn't believe what was going to happen would happen. Yes, ma'am.
On China, so China's been doing naval exercises basically to test encircling Taiwan. Can you explain to us what your knowledge is of that? What do you think about that? Have you had any discussions with
Well, I have a great relationship with President Xi, and he hasn't told me anything about it. I certainly have seen it, but he hasn't told me anything about it, and I don't believe he's going to be doing it.
Does it worry you?
No, nothing worries me.
But you said where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So if you're encircled, if you're doing naval exercises and air
I've
exercises.
been doing naval exercises for 20 years in that area. Now people take it a little bit differently, but in fact, larger than they're doing right now. So we'll see. But they've been doing that for 20, 25 years, yeah.
Mr. President, if you don't see Hamas disarm in that short amount of time they're giving them, can you tell us what the next steps would be?
It'll be horrible for them. Horrible. It's going to be really, really bad for them. And I don't want that to happen. But they made an agreement that they were going to disarm. And you couldn't blame Israel. By the way, we have other countries that will come in and do it. They said, let us do it for you if they don't. Countries that were with them wanted the deal to be made, agreed that they would disarm. And now if they say they're going to disarm, that's fine. If they say they're not going to disarm, those same countries will go and wipe them out. They don't even need Israel. You know, we have many countries, 59 countries that are already. This is a real peace in the Middle East. And Hamas is a small part of it, but it's still a part of it. But we have 59 countries that signed on, big countries, countries that are outside of the Middle East, as you know the Middle East. They want to go in and wipe out Hamas. They don't want Israel. They don't need Israel. They want to do it because it's the right thing to do, because they were for the deal based on the fact that Hamas pledged, they swore that they were going to disarm. Now, they're not going to disarm. Those same countries will wipe out Hamas. Yeah.
Do you think that the PA should be involved the day after in Gaza Strip, even in the near future? And the same question to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do you see a real opportunity that the PA will be in Gaza?
Go ahead, maybe.
I think President Trump put clearly the conditions of reform that he wants to see in the PA for them to be involved. And I think he put it very clearly what he wants to see, the kind of real reforms, not just perfunctory reforms, but real reforms. Stop pay to slay, change the curriculum in your textbooks, open up a different society and a different future. If
So
they
it's
do
happening in your future?
well, let them, I think it was clear. He put guidelines that were, by the way, in the Trump plan of 2020, and they were put then in the 20 points, and it's up to them.
Remember this, if we didn't do what we did to Iran, just to make the subject just slightly different, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. You wouldn't have a deal signed in the Middle East. You wouldn't have a deal. Because other Arab nations, which are great people, I know them very well, I know them, they're great people, they wouldn't be able to agree to peace in the Middle East because you would have had a dark cloud hanging over everything. It wouldn't have been possible. So Iran has been greatly reduced in power, prestige. I don't want to use the word humiliation because, they're trying to build up again. But we can't let them build up, because if they build up, there can't be peace in the Middle East. It was a mistake. When they wiped out Iraq and Iran were about the same power. And they fought each other with different names for 1,000 years. And then our country came out and blew up one of those two countries, namely Iraq. And all of a sudden, Iran had the whole Middle East all to itself. But that's not true anymore. That's not true anymore.
Can you tell us something about your plan? Tell us something about your plan to expand Abraham Accords. If you can tell us something about your plan to expand Abraham Accords.
Well, the Abraham Accords are great. There's a great achievement of Jared and everybody. I mean, it was one of the great achievements. They'll be.
I don't know about that. That's debatable.
Expanded. Countries are already talking about expanding it, and they'll be expanded fairly quickly. Yeah, please.
The Abraham Accords were to bring all the countries in the Middle East to come together to recognize Israel as a legitimate country. But the problem with that is that none of them recognize, not all of them are still signed to the Abraham Accords or even agree with that Israel's legit at all. And that is just apartheid state that's pretty much enslaving. Let me not use enslaving. More oppressing the Palestinian people. So that's the reason why I say the Abraham Accords is not necessarily a success. It's more or less a failure, because not all Middle Eastern countries recognize Israel as a legitimate country. They look at that as literally just an apartheid ethno state that wants to conduct itself as a legitimate country, as with Western values or whatever, but it's more of a dictatorship. Even though technically speaking, BB's about to be up for re-election soon. I don't think he's going to get out of office anytime soon, because like at that moment, he's going to look for any excuse to start back up the fight with Iran. Like they've already made it clear, he's not getting out of office until his mission is complete.
Saudi Arabia, is it still on the table?
Saudi Arabia is great. We have a great leader, and a friend of mine, and a friend of a lot of people. Also an enemy of some people, but those people aren't doing so well. Saudi Arabia has been very good, as far as I'm concerned. They've done everything that we can ask for.
But normalization with Israel is on the
They're getting along great with Israel. They will. And at some point, they'll sign the Abraham Accords.
Mr. President, on the Fed. So one of the big domestic tasks ahead of you is to pick a new chairman for the Fed.
Yeah.
You've said that you have one favorite, but you're also doing interviews.
Still do. Hasn't changed. I'll announce them at the right time. There's plenty of time.
Are you?
But in the meantime, we're doing numbers that nobody's ever seen. We have $18 trillion coming in. We had a 4.3% GDP. They thought it was going to be 2%. And that's despite the Democrat shutdown. Had the shutdown not occurred, we would have had an extra point and a quarter. Think of that. We are doing, and also despite the fact that we have a fool at the Federal Reserve. I mean, Biden reappointed him. It's too bad. You would have thought he wouldn't have done that. But he's
anything to throw shit at Biden, pretty much. Anything to throw shit at Biden. I think what we're gonna watch tonight, well, no, that's tonight. What we're gonna watch tomorrow, I'm probably gonna look at Sean Ryan's interview that he did with Hunter Biden. Now that I think about it, I wasn't sure what I was gonna watch tomorrow for stream, or what I know what I was gonna cover. I'm going to probably cover some more about this possible war with Iran tomorrow. And then I'm probably going to watch the end of the stream. I'll probably watch Sean Ryan's interview that he did with Hunter Biden.
An absolute fool who's building a new Federal Reserve, or he's doing a renovation of a building. Maybe he's up to $4.1 billion to do a renovation of a few very small buildings. It's the highest price in the history of construction. He's spending more money than any building has ever spent per square foot on the renovation of, as an example, I'm doing a magnificent, big, beautiful ballroom that the country's wanted, the White House has wanted for 150 years. It's a massive job, and it's a tiny fraction of that number. And we're under budget and ahead of schedule. Now it's bigger than I told you. It's after realizing we're going to do the inauguration in that building, it's got all bulletproof glass. It's got all drone. They call it drone-free roof. The drones won't touch it. It's a big, beautiful, safe building. But it's it's a big project for a tiny fraction. That we're under budget and ahead of schedule. And they wanted it for 150 years. Think of it, the Federal Reserve building, 2 buildings there, they don't know what they're doing. They're way over budget. I mean, almost, this was built during the Biden administration, and I wrote by it the other day, and it's headed by the head of the Federal Reserve. Too late, too late, Powell. Too late, because he's always too late with interest rates, except before the election, it was too early, because that would have helped. That was supposed to help get her elected. It had no impact. We won all 7 swing states. But no. We're thinking about bringing a suit against Powell for incompetence. Because think of it, these aren't outstanding buildings. These are small buildings. He said $4 billion more. It's going to end up costing more than $4 billion. $4 billion. It's the highest price of construction. Again, Democrats, highest price of construction per square foot in the history of the world. There's never been. Gorgeous monuments are built for a much smaller price. So we're thinking about bringing a gross incompetence, what's called gross incompetence lawsuit. It's gross incompetence against Powell, and it was his baby. And the guy's just incompetent. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. He's just a very incompetent man, but we're going to probably bring a lawsuit against him. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. BB, congratulations.
All right, that's that. So, summary of that, pretty much Hamas needs to disarm or whatever, according to Trump. Otherwise, there are going to be greater consequences. We already know what that means. It means probably the restart of the conflict. And then also possibility that if Iran is found to be still trying to enrich uranium, they are going to continue bombing them. And I would assume that Trump is meaning that we're going to join in the fight against Iran. He was asked a question about regime change as well. I believe that was when BB arrived. I covered that part on the other stream, and as he said before, like he's not 100%. He didn't really answer the question. There's a possibility that he might commit to regime change. There's a possibility that he might not. We don't know yet at the moment. So, but I'm gonna move on now as well. I'm gonna start getting into some more about this fraud that's going on in Minnesota. We're talking, like I said, we're gonna talk more about that tomorrow. I'm gonna look at some more news stories too as well. So HHS freezing child care payments to all states after Minnesota fraud allegations. This is from ABC News. The Trump administration is pausing child care funding to all states after allegations of fraud in daycare centers in Minnesota emerged. An official with the Department of Health and Human Services said the official said the funds will be released only when states prove they are being spent legitimately. The official did not provide details or more information about the proof the agency is requiring from states. HHS spokesperson Andrew Nixon told ABC News that recipients of funding who are not suspected of fraudulent activity are required to send HHS their administrative data for review. And as it goes on, Nixon said the recipients of federal funding in Minnesota and those suspected of fraudulent activity have to provide the HHS with additional records that include attendance records, licensing, inspection, and monitoring reports, complaints, and investigations. It's the onus of the state to make sure that these funds, these federal dollars, taxpayer dollars, are being used for legitimate purposes, Nixon told ABC News. So Nick Shirley's investigation into this possible fraud that's going on in Minnesota has really gotten the ears of the Trump administration lately, because now you've had, Pam Bundy come out as well. And then you had Kash Patel, and I think Kristi Noem too has also made some comments too as well. Oh, and then you had Trump, of course, tweeting, says that, hey, send all Somalians back. Bro, you're literally the president of the United States. That should be your job, to get these people deported, denaturalized, and just round them all up and ship them back home. We all want them to go home. I mean, we all want the Somalis to get out of here. But that's your job to do that. So, but anyways, going to react to his interview that he did with Patrick B. David.
Here's Newsweek.
Sorry about that. I watched it before, so we're going to go back a little bit. Try not to get to music, because again, it's kind of copyright.
You watch this video. Next thing you know, it becomes a top 10 most viewed video. Some are saying top 5, some are saying top 10. Nearly 150 million views after being uploaded a day after Christmas. And he created so much havoc that he made journalists start working. Come on, why would you do such a thing? CNN had to work. They came after him yesterday. Everybody's trying to find out. They call him MAGA YouTuber. They call him Islamophobe. They call him all this other stuff. So listen, why don't you just fly down here? Let's sit down, do a podcast, and talk about what you just did. And we have the one and only Nick Shirley in the house.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on. 23 years old, and you're doing this.
Yeah, it's been the craziest week of my life this past week or so.
So I want to learn about you, but first tell us, why has it been the craziest week of your life this week?
Yeah, so I've been doing YouTube and doing what I've been doing for years now, for at least 2 years consistently at this point. But this week, I've hit a new level as far as what I produced and put out on the internet is the most viewed video by any other creator that's not named Mr. Beast for long form video. Like seriously, I've never seen a video at 131 million views on X.
How many followers? When I watched it when you first posted, you had a couple 100,000 followers on X. Where are you at now?
Now I'm about to hit 1 million.
You're about to hit 1 million. Just in the last 4 days. Why do you think the world, and why do you think America is reacting the way that it has?
I think what I covered in Minnesota with the fraud that took place, and the way I produced it is a way where really I didn't make it a left or right issue. I just presented the information as it was and just went to the location to where the fraud was happening. And I went and talked to the people. Well, I at least tried to, for those that were running the daycares. And you're seeing that the millions of dollars and the billions of dollars that have been defrauded from the people of Minnesota and from people of the United States, you could physically see where that money was going, right? We had all in.
Also, if you're just joining in or whatever, make sure you like the video. Give me a comment in the comment section too as well. I'm looking at the comments yet. Again, like the video, share it. Let's get the word out right now. But now we're covering Patrick Bet-David's interview with Nick Shirley. And I'll go over a little bit about Nick Shirley's character and myself later, and what my assessment of him is, honestly speaking, and why is he being pushed very hard right now. Because it's kind of odd, and like, it's not odd, but it's kind of like, it's very easy to notice that he's being pushed very hard. And it's for a good reason why he's probably being pushed this hard right now in the algorithm. It's because, well, they're trying to replace somebody that we all know.
Numbers, we had all the evidence, and these people can even answer simple questions or give you a brochure to sign up my son little Joey for a daycare.
Yeah, I love when he says, my son little Joey cannot go to this daycare. And everybody's like, I have no idea they got a son named Joey at 23. So I'm like, guys, I don't think he has a son named Joey. He's just trying to find out if he's going to let the guy in. By the way, here's the power of where social media does today. 23 years old, you go and find out for yourself. You're not waiting on ABC, CNN, CBS, any of these guys. You go ask questions. After asking questions yesterday, I believe was it HHS, Rob, that came out yesterday? If I'm not mistaken, they came out yesterday and they stopped $185 million of funding to Minneapolis because of the video you posted. So watch this, folks. This is a byproduct of what Nick Shirley did on December 26th. Go ahead, Rob.
Hello, I'm HHS Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill. I'm here with Assistant Secretary Alex Adams. Alex oversees the Administration for Children and Families. Intrepid journalists have made shocking and credible allegations of extensive fraud in Minnesota's child care programs. We believe the state of Minnesota has allowed scammers and fake daycares to siphon millions of taxpayer dollars over the past decade.
My office, ACF, provides Minnesota $185 million in child care funds each year. That money should be helping 19,000 American children, including toddlers and infants. Any dollar stolen by fraudsters is stolen from those children. Yesterday, I spoke directly with the director of the Minnesota Child Care Services Office. She could not tell me with confidence whether those allegations of fraud are isolated or whether there's fraud stretching statewide.
Today, we've taken 3 direct actions against the blatant fraud that seems to be rampant in Minnesota. First, I've activated our Defend the Spend system for all ACF child care payments across America. Starting today, we require a justification, receipt, or photo evidence before we make a payment.
You can stop it right. Second, the idea is $185 million stop, because you independently went out there and created this content, exposed it to everybody, and then allegedly, was it today that CNN came after you, or was it yesterday?
Yeah, today they put a hit piece out on me.
And when did they interview? When did CNN come and interview?
Yesterday.
Yesterday they did.
Yesterday I showed up at Quality Learning Center.
Is this the one?
Yes.
So this is you. You show up. You're in Minnesota yesterday.
Yes.
At the Quality Learning Center. We got to say it correctly. By the way, his sweater he's got on. If you guys want to purchase the sweater, we're going to put the link below as well to the Quality Learning Center. It's becoming a hot commodity. Rob, let's make sure to put the link below as well to support what he's doing here. But here's CNN. It doesn't look like they're...
It's crazy how, like, you can't... These people up here are saying they're running a legitimate business, but they can't even spell learning right. It's the most easiest word to spell. Learning. You spell leering. Bro, that just lets you know how these people are just not serious about. I know people are saying like, oh, well, look, does that mean they're really running a fraudulent business just because they can't spell learning? In some cases, what did they teach these kids then if they can't barely even spell the word learning? Bro, this is the reason why, like, there's a reason why we need to import smart immigrants. If we were to do immigrant, even though I want the borders closed, even though if we were to import immigrants, we need to import the best and the brightest from the best countries on the planet. For me, in my opinion, is Japanese. I mean, more higher IQ Japanese than anything. I'll take those guys over any other country, quite frankly. But me, that's just me personally saying that. But I mean, at the same time, I still want the border just closed completely for like the next 4 to 5 years, probably 10.
Happy for you doing their work. When they first came up to you, were they friendly? Were they nice to you? What was the approach that they took?
Yeah, the lady came up to me very friendly, and then she kept asking me these questions. I'm like, ma'am, you're defending fraud. Like, what are you talking about? Like, the issue wasn't what time I showed up to the daycare. The issue is that this building right here is receiving $1.9 million, and it's not even operating. And they're showing face right now while they're literally shuffling in kids, while the Commissioner of Children is saying the daycare was closed last week.
That's pretty wild. Okay, so play this clip, Rob. Go ahead.
This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
You are going to say it's a left or right issue? But no, fraud is fraud. We're here. So I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during our normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day, later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time with their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a daycare.
Be a reception.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked.
And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation. Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on for years.
One day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children. They're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
Hi, my name's Whitney Wild. I'm a correspondent for CNN.
We reached out to several of the daycares featured in the now viral video. Only one daycare facility answered and said they are legitimate business.
Have you seen the videos? Reporting that some of these daycares don't have kids inside.
Minnesota Republic.
Imagine this: you called several daycares, one answered, and you're gonna believe them just because you asked them are they a legitimate business? Like, bro, talk about journalism done. Talk about journalism done in the worst way possible, bro. CNN always never ceases to amaze me about how stupid they are for the most part, because like the most like dumbfounded forms of journalism being conducted by CNN on display right now. Anything just to stick it to anyone who's allegedly tied to Trump. They're so Trump derangement syndrome heavy that they are just focused on like anything to try to discredit Trump or just try to anything to attack Trump. And it's just like, it's so funny to me because they're looking for any excuse to just try to go at Trump instead of actually calling out real actual criminality going on. Now, do I think all the daycare facilities maybe in Minnesota are not committing fraud? Maybe not. But there is some questions that need to be answered. But these people, the problem is with these people, they don't want to answer the questions. They just want to get angry with you, record you, shout at you, you know, say take away our passports, as you're about to see in this interview. There's going to be an angry guy who's very hostile towards Nick and his crew because he's there commencing this investigation into the Somali community, especially at these daycare facilities that are taking millions of dollars from the taxpayers. And we're wondering, where is that money being used properly for actual businesses, or they're just using this money to enrich themselves? And that's the question. There's no target on the Somali community. No, you guys are putting a bigger target on your community's back by getting loud, getting angry, and attacking Nick Shirley when he's just there to conduct an investigation.
Can say, despite the new focus from the Trump administration, they have been sounding the alarm on fraud for years.
You know, we have talked about fraud. We have gotten stories. We've tried to push this forward every way that we can.
At the
So this is yesterday in Minnesota?
Yeah, yesterday in Minnesota.
Wow. And you went back to Minnesota because you just told me that you're working on a part 2 yourself.
Yeah, because there's a lot more fraud.
How much more did you find?
Oh, we found a lot more businesses that don't exist. There's millions of dollars. We found daycares with more $1 million daycares. I mean, there's literally hundreds of daycares receiving millions of dollars in Minnesota at this moment as we speak.
So from the first one, you guys were over $100 million of fraud that you found, right? Mm-hmm. With the second one, now the recent one that you were there yesterday, how much more did you guys find yesterday?
I have to do all the numbers, which I'll do when I do all my editing, but at least another $10 million.
Another $10 million bucks. Okay, so on the other side, while you're doing this, what caused you, and we see this man named David, right? We keep seeing this man named David, who I think yesterday, he said, if you want to, I'll put $100,000 for anybody that can prove any of this wrong because this is government document. How did you and David, Rob, is this the clip where he says that?
Yep.
You want to play this clip of David?
Don't call any patterns. Anybody want to take me up? You $100,000 if you $100,000. Just prove my information. Okay, so give me a copy of what you have, and I can give my information. $100,000. $100,000.
You're going page by page. Keep going. Come on, girl.
Just keep your video on, okay?
And just screenshot it while you're going.
Let me know when you got it.
All those people out there defending the fraud, and he gives them the option.
You're defending the fraud?
Yes.
You're not on your side?
No.
How many of those people are on your side right there?
None of those people you're hearing in the background.
Just you and David in the camera?
Just me and Dave. Yeah, I was my cameraman.
So who's recording you there?
That's somebody doing a live stream. That's
from them. That's not even yours. That's that Kadra Abshir that's recording you.
Yes.
Got it. So they're recording you, and he's offering $100,000 to go prove if any of these things are wrong.
Yes.
So how did you and David get linked up?
David messaged me on Instagram, and out of the hundreds of DMs I get, I just opened David's, and he had all the proof, because I've known about the fraud happening for so long in Minnesota, since back in June. I've known about the fraud, but it's hard for me to go out and get all the information because they make it very hard to get the information. Luckily, David had somebody inside the Capitol who's been leaking him all the numbers, leaking him all the information.
Somebody from the Capitol?
Yes.
In Minnesota?
Yes. So all the numbers that David has are 100% correct, and also they're on the state. Also, they're from the government, from the state. But David told me he knew the numbers, and I said, okay, I'm coming to Minnesota. Let's do this video. Line out some of the daycares you'd like to go see, because I know about the fraud. I knew that the fraud was happening. I just needed somebody like David to come that's lived it, to be able to really solidify my claims and my ideas about the fraud that's happening. And you saw the video. Everything we said was true.
And this is David explaining the fraud, right, Rob? This is in front of Minnesota. Go for it.
Massive fraud is going on here in the state of Minnesota, especially in Minneapolis. Explain to me what's going on with the daycares.
So one of the things that I've noticed is there's an exceptional number of child care centers that are set up mostly in Minneapolis, but also in St. Paul. And I said, wow, I mean, how many kids are there in the Twin Cities? Some of them are by my office, and I would watch, and I said, well, there aren't any kids there. And I go to another one, there aren't any kids there, and I'd see just some guys, some Somali guys outside smoking cigarettes. So I stopped at one of them, and I said, hey, I'm just wondering, I've got a grandson who's looking for childcare, and I wonder if this might be a good facility. And they said, no, we're all full. And they had the door open, and I looked, and there were no kids. There was like a couch and a table with a couple chairs, and I said, well, are the kids out back playing, or what kind of place is this? And the guy said, you go, and he almost pushed me out the door, and then he followed me down the street to my car, and that's when I said, wait a minute, there's something going on here, and that's got to be maybe 5 years ago. This fraud is so massive. When the dust settles on this, it's going to be found to be the largest fraud in the history of the country and probably the world. It's that big. The ones that
Is that true? That genetics is that's genetics right there? Is that mom?
Yes, my mom.
So now good for you. You got great genes. You know, she's very comfortable doing this as well. Very cool. So the largest fraud in the world, in America, on what he's talking about. I hope we get to the bottom of this. So you and David get linked up, and then you just said, why don't we just go interview? That's kind of how it started.
Yeah, I thought when we go, like, we'll walk these daycares, we'll talk to them. But the first daycare we go to, all the windows are blacked out. And I tried to open the door and nobody answered. I ring the doorbell, nobody answered. And that daycare, they had two daycares running out of that same building, and they had two different contracts of more than $1 million for these daycares. And I was very shocked to see that the response from the public after that was, oh, why is he going and knocking on these doors? Because millions of dollars are going there. We have a responsibility to know where our dollars are going. But it just went to show that the fraud is insane. And then the people are saying, well, that daycare's closed. Well, how come there's a sign that says it's open 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.?
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
So the one that the CNN reporter claimed, that you came after business hours, you said you came at 11 to 5 o'clock. They have a sign that says they're open Monday through Sunday.
That one right there, the first part in the video.
Open 7 days a week. What is zoom in a little bit, Rob?
I can't because it's a video, but it says open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
It says that right on the sign.
Right there, right under the phone number.
This is the Mako, what is it called? Mako Child Care Center?
Yeah.
Is that another misspelled Mako, or is that really the name?
I don't know, but what's funny about that is there's actually two childcare companies inside that same building, but they're not showing the second one. And so they have two childcare businesses operating that same
within the same place.
Yes.
And how much money are they getting?
This one together over the past few years, they have it right there. But combined, they received over $5 million.
Stop it.
Just that one building alone.
And so what is the business model? Somebody just stays there all day, no kids, and they just take the cash?
Yeah, that's why all the windows are all boarded up, or why they're all blacked out.
Now, let me ask you, Nick, there was a video from 2019. Is it 2019, 2020? You know the video where parents would come, drop off the kids, and then take the kids out a minute later, not even drop them off, come in, register, then they leave. You know which video I'm talking about, right? And allegedly, they were getting paid. That's the one right there. What year is that video from?
It says 2015, March 31st of 2015.
This is from 15
yes.
that they've been doing this. So this is a surveillance. Maybe you can narrate to the audience what's going on here.
Yeah, so basically what they're doing inside these daycares, I don't doubt that there's one or two or a few children inside these daycares. It'd be very stupid to be receiving millions of dollars and not bring at least a few kids to daycare every day, right? But what they're doing here is they're bringing in children, and then they're then just leaving after a few minutes of being inside the daycare. And I don't know if this is the same video where it shows the guy giving the cash to the ladies working.
Do you have the audio on there? So there is one that says you're showing that.
Oh, there it is.
In that same case,
shows
a man handing out envelopes of what are believed to be kickback payments to parents who are in on the fraud.
Where was the money going? I don't know exactly where it went, but
in order for the scheme to work, the daycare center.
You got to be kidding me. So I'll come in, I register my kids, you're able to write them off to make money off, and you send that to the Minnesota government. Hey, I have this many kids. Then they get paid. Then they come and give a kickback to the parents.
Yes.
So the problem with this is these parents are no longer going to get payments. And someone's going to call somebody out. And this has been happening for over a decade. It's not like this is a new thing that's happening. How many whistleblowers have been emailing you, DMing you, texting you, getting a hold of you? How many more whistleblowers have gotten a hold of you and David?
Yeah, so many people have been reaching out. It's been almost like overwhelming to go through all the messages. But the people in Minnesota are so fed up with this fraud because now finally somebody's actually getting it out to the national level. Because local journalists have been talking about it for years, but they've never been able to get it out to a national level like I was able to do. And so just the millions of dollars. And if you talk about why they're just giving them cash, it's because the money they receive is tax exempt, CCAP funding, and then these women that are working inside these daycares, they're not. My assumption is that they're not actually on payroll, and that's why 81% of the Somali population is on welfare inside the state of Minnesota, is because they don't actually receive a W-2 or 1099, whatever it would be, to claim that they're actually receiving an income. Because if you're running a daycare of $1 million, you should be able to pay your person a salary of at least $50,000. You know what I mean?
But none of that is documented.
No, not that I know of. Because it doesn't make sense why there's so many people on welfare if they're making millions of dollars.
Yeah. So the first day this came out, people on Twitter were talking about it. The second day, silence. The third day, Kash Patel responds to it, and I'm sure you saw the tweet on here. Hey, the FBI has awarded recent social media reports in Minnesota. However, even before the public conversation escalated online, the FBI had searched. So he sends this tweet, right? It's dismantled $250 million in fraud, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, it got to a point that it was so viral that everybody had to cover. And they barely started covering it yesterday. I don't even think they did on the 29th. I think they started on the 30th. CNN, ABC, CBS, a lot of this other stuff. Has Kash Patel or anybody from the White House reached out to you yet?
No, Kash Patel hasn't. Other people have reached out as far as like, hey, do you want to come with us to see what's happening, or do you want to see what's happening? A lot of people have sent me messages on X. I mean, Mike Johnson was talking about it, and
JD Vance
talked about it. Attorney General Pam Bondi talked about it. Everyone's talking about it. I mean, literally, the GOP was using a video referencing my video on their Instagram yesterday.
The GOP was?
The GOP official Instagram account.
I mean, look, the vice president responded. This dude has done more useful journalism than any of the winners of the 2024 Pulitzer Center Prize. The VP is giving you, but the FBI hasn't reached out to you at all.
No, I mean, I can't. There's been so many people that messaged me, but there's people who are wondering how I got my information from the government, and I've been willing to say like, yeah, I got it from David. If you want to talk to David, here's David's contact info. But I don't know how the government doesn't have all this information. It's kind of like surprising to me.
So you're surprised that the government doesn't have this information?
Yeah, they're reaching out to me to figure out what's going on. A few of them are.
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty high officials?
Not the high up officials, but the departments.
Departments are reaching out to you to see how you got it?
Yeah.
So are they reaching out to you asking how you got it because they want to catch the person that's blowing the whistle, or are they reaching out to you because they want to actually find out the work that you're doing, like some access to the information that they don't have themselves?
Well, I think they're trying to figure out how to go about this fraud because it's so big and so massive, because it's not just the daycares, it's the home health cares, it's the transportation companies, it's the people, it's the translators at the hospitals. It's so vast and big that the network is massive. So I think they're trying to get an understanding of how big it is, and that's why you hear them talking about, we've had fraud for years. Tim Walz literally admits.
Yeah, it's good to do the interviews about this stuff, but at the same time, like, tweeting about it, saying they're going to do something about it, it's one thing. Are we going to actually deport these people? That's another thing. Like, speaking about this right now is important, but I feel like we're not going to do anything about it at all, quite frankly, because all this Trump administration does is just like they're shock jocks. They go out there, they're tweet, they'll go do press conferences where they'll just go out there and just lean into a little bit of cruelty or whatever, and just say they're going to do something, and they're not going to actually deliver on it. And that's the sad part about this, because like, we should be deporting these people. These people do not belong here. They're not American fundamentally. They live in an enclave amongst each other. They only talk with each other, and it's kind of clear as day that they have no respect for what being American is. They don't even have respect for Americans, quite frankly. I mean, like, when we watched the video of Nick Shirley going up there exposing the fraud, what did they tell Nick Shirley to his face? I'm scared of your color. Your color scares me, or whatever. Basically, he's telling him that they're scared of white people. They're being racist towards whites. But hey, that's socially acceptable. Today is becoming insane.
It's the fraud. He's been talking about fraud he admitted to fraud yesterday. And he said it's been happening for years. Okay, if it's been happening for years, why don't you stop it?
He said this yesterday, yeah, and there was the one clip that he moved the flag, and there's a whole thing about how Minnesota changed its flag to look pretty much identical to Somalia's flag. If you've not seen this, take a look at this. First, this is the clip of that. You can play this clip and then we can go matching the flag. Old flag to the new flag. So this is the old Minnesota flag. Right, Rob? That's the Minnesota flag, the old one. And he replaces it with the new flag.
Bruh.
I believe that's the Minnesota flag. I don't think that's Somalia's flag. I think that's the new flag. But if you go to the picture next to you on X, you see how it says go next? No, right there, right there. Yeah, look at that. They changed their picture. That's the old Minnesota flag on the top left. The bottom left is the new.
They literally turned it into the flag of Somalia, bro. That is crazy. Oh my God, that is wild, bro. Man, talk about disrespecting America, bro. Like, you people can't tell me that the Somalians aren't invading Minnesota and took over Minnesota, bro. That is crazy. They turned the flag into, bro. I'm telling you, that's what that fraud money's buying. They're buying actual flags in Minnesota. They're buying their flag. They're waving their flag now. Tim Walz, to me, dude's a retard. So he doesn't. I don't even think he's aware of what's really going on. He's just a pawn in this.
New Minnesota flag, and then go look at Somalia's flag on the right. You tell me if you see any similarities. So they changed their flag, Minnesota, nicest people in the world is what they're supposed to be, to the Somalia flag. And then Tim Walz is sitting out there talking about that they've been dealing with this for many years. Yet he was bragging, if you have that one clip when he was debating with JD Vance, that they're opening up the most daycare centers and record-breaking daycare centers, and they're doing such a good job. This was in the debate, folks. Watch this.
We in Minnesota passed a paid family medical leave. You have a child, you and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start, the family works better, we stay in their employers, we get more consistency in that. So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota, and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take care of our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family medical leave and help with this will enhance our workforce, enhance our families, and make it easier to have the children that you want.
So in this debate, he challenged you. If you want to find out, go there. You took up the challenge.
Yes,
you went there.
Took up the challenge.
And maybe he shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, he shouldn't have said a lot of things.
He should have said a lot of
things. He's
things.
not the brightest guy.
So so the FBI hasn't reached out to you. You guys are continuing to go out there and do your thing. And by the way, if some of the people that are watching this, if you have any questions and you want to support the work, because you have to realize, Nick, you're not part of CBS.
No.
You're not ABC. You're not CNN. You're not Fox. You're not part of anybody. You're an independent journalist. A guy asks you a question, who do you work for? Myself. Yeah, who pays you? Myself. You make money off YouTube, don't you? Yeah, that's how I make my money. I make my money off my YouTube channel. This is what I've been doing for many years. But if some of you guys are watching this and you want to support him, either go buy the sweater that he has here, or number two, connect him if you have any other questions or things that you're working on. If you want to be in contact with him, you have other information that's coming in. Imagine he's getting tens of thousands of emails and DMs right now. He can't get through everybody. But if you have something that you want to do with him, have a conversation with him. He's officially on Connect as well, Rob. If you want to put up the QR code, it's the link below. Are they seeing it right now?
Yep, the link is in the description.
So let's go back. Rob, can you go to Nick's YouTube channel? Can you go to Nick's YouTube channel?
Kind of have an interesting story if you look at the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I want to hear about it because the average person maybe who doesn't follow you, we know who you are. We know the great work you do. But the average person who doesn't know you, can you kind of share with them your story of how you got started to eventually doing a video like this? This is not the first big video you've done on YouTube. You've done many of these. But how did you get started?
Yeah, I've been doing YouTube ever since I was a sophomore in high school. I remember 2017, start watching people like Logan Paul, or you start watching other vloggers, and I thought, well, I can do this. Like, I want to have like this lifestyle. I want to have a fun time and be able to record these memories. So I started making YouTube videos in high school, and it was just high school pranks, stunts, you name it, sneaking into Jake Paul's wedding, doing just like
Jake Paul's wedding.
Yeah, just like doing the typical like YouTuber stuff at that time. And I had like little success, but I could never reach like the next level. I moved to LA, pursued YouTube. I do collabs with people who had 10 million views. They'd look at my analytics and they'd be like, Nick, what's that? They'd be like, wait, how are you not blowing up? Like all your analytics, like your channel should be blowing up. But for some reason, YouTube would not push my content, no matter how good my click-through rates were, how good my attention graphs were, everything like that. They wouldn't give me an opportunity. But in hindsight, I think it was God just holding me back to help me learn, and then propelling me to where I'm at now. But based off of what I was doing on YouTube, and I kind of I got really interested in politics when I graduated high school, and I started seeing how the world was working and how crazy and how, especially during COVID, how people could use information against you, how they're censoring you. And I remember I started making more political videos on my YouTube channel, and anytime you put the word Trump in your YouTube channel or on your video, they would demonetize you, which means you can't make money. And if you can't make money, you can't do what you can't do it. And so you literally could not use Trump's name in a thumbnail or in a title and receive compensation for your work on YouTube. And then after that, I ended up going on to a 2-year mission for my church, and I made a plan of my mission, exactly how I wanted to come back, what kind of videos I wanted to do.
What was the mission?
In Chile, Santiago.
And you said a mission with the church?
Yes.
Which church?
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints.
Let me tell you, man, that is such a massive...
That is crazy. I did not know he was a Mormon. When I watched his interview, I did not expect him to say he was a Mormon.
Massive edge. So, they would send... I work with a lot of folks from the LDS stake presidents, a lot of guys. So I read all the Gordon B. Hinckley, John Huntsman, all these major names. Cleon Skousen, I think, is also a LDS author. He wrote a book called Naked Communist. He was a former 15-year CIA, and the FBI and the CIA would come and try to learn from Mormons on how...
Yeah, a lot of intelligence agencies, they have a lot of Mormons in the agencies. I didn't realize that at the time, but it's like, yeah, there's a lot of Mormons that are in the intelligence field. Is that kind of weird? That's kind of weird, bro. A lot of Mormons have ties back to intelligence. Wow. What is it with Mormonism and intelligence agencies? I don't understand the correlation right there. I have to do more digging into that, but it's just like, bro, that's insane to me to know you go down this rabbit hole of intelligence and what their religious beliefs happen to be. It's just somehow there always correlates to them being Mormon for the most part. A lot of them are Mormon. I did not even know that.
They would teach a language for somebody that would go on a mission for 3 weeks, or within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're learning the language. How much did you going on that mission make you fearless to be able to do the citizen journalism you're doing right now?
Yeah, I've always been fearless in a way. Like I was the younger brother. My brother.
That's your older brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was the younger brother, always trying to impress my older brother. So it's like, if you want to do a bike jump, if we're bike jumping, we're going snowboarding. Nick, you're also jumping.
I love it. I love it.
And but on my mission, you also just talk to thousands of people, and you have such little success for how much work you put in. As far as like, you're talking to 1,000 people, you might get a few hundred to say, yeah, let me sit down and have a discussion with you.
Did you speak? How long did it take you to speak the language?
I learned Spanish in about 6 weeks. I could start having conversations.
In 6 weeks, you learned Spanish.
Yeah, and I knew it when I was younger, and then I forgot it, and then I learned it back up in 6 weeks.
Can you speak now or no?
Yeah, because I speak fluent Spanish.
Seriously?
Yeah, I can have a full-on conversation with the president.
So maybe in Spanish, give a message to Tim Walz. What would you
Tim
say?
Walz, él es muy mal, muy estúpido. Él no sabe cómo hacer nada. Literalmente él es muy tonto, no sabe nada.
There you go, Tim Walz. If you're
I
paying
already
attention,
get
that's a
that
message here from a young 23-year-old man. So you come back from Chile, you're making a decision, what you want to do when you return with your YouTube channel, then what happens next?
Yeah, so on the mission I came out with a plan, like the videos I wanted to make, because I wanted to get more into kind of showing things for what they are. On your mission, all you do is talk to people, right? And I saw a lot of effects of mass migration, especially on my mission for people fleeing Venezuela. And so I was super curious, like what's happening in Venezuela? How come people are like moving around? You always hear about migration of animals, but you never hear about humans. And so then when I come back to the U.S., I had no money from after my mission. I had like $6,000, and so I knew I needed to make $10,000 to be able to fund my YouTube channel for a few months, because I didn't think I was gonna be able to make enough money for the first few months. So I knew I needed to get to $10,000, and so
it's weird because like besides him getting this interview with Patrick Bay David, he got the interview at the All In podcast, David Sachs's podcast. It's kind of odd. Like he's getting a lot of podcast interviews from a lot of known Zionists, influencers, commentators, political commentators. You know, it's kind of odd how this is happening right now, and they're pushing Nick Shirley very hard right now, showing him like to be this very stoic Gen Z leader. You know, kind of like someone else that we already know already, someone else who's already named Nick. You know, his last name is not Shirley, but his last name happens to be F. You know, I'm just gonna say it's Nick Fuentes. Like, it's kind of odd. Like, they're trying to push Shirley at the same time while Nick is on this generational run and on this generational rise. That I'm seeing Nick Shirley being heavily pushed in the algorithm a lot. And it's not at all awkward why that is the case. It's not. They're pushing Nick Shirley for a reason. Nick Shirley's being pushed because, like, it's the counter syndrome, Nick Fuentes. They want to be able to get someone to go against Nick. So that's why they're pushing Nick Shirley. It's kind of obvious they're doing this because this kid goes over exactly his obviously he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs, he's a virgin, you know, he's waiting till marriage. You know, that's all sounds very vividly familiar to someone else. It's almost like they're trying to push him to compete with someone. You know, you can kind of tell with this type of stuff because, like, Nick Shirley's getting a lot of media coverage as of late. A lot of big interviews on big platforms. It's only a matter of time before Tucker Carlson brings him on.
Went Power Wash houses for a month, made $10,000 in cash, and then I went to AmFest in Phoenix to go interview people. I went all myself. I just set up a tripod, interviewed people, and from there I went to the border. And at the border, I was the first person to ever really go to the border and interview people as they were crossing the border in Spanish.
Which one is this, by the way? Is there a clip here if you type in Nick Shirley border?
Yeah, if you just go to, like, that's a few of them, but that wasn't the first one. Yeah, I interviewed illegal migrants at the U.S. border.
This is you?
Yeah.
How old are you here?
21.
So this is 2 years ago?
Yeah.
You're the first person that goes there?
Yeah, I'm the first person to show people that people are literally just walking over, being trafficked over, and I'm interviewing them, and these people are as proud and happy to be coming to the United States. I was, like, fearful when I went down there. I was like, okay, how, like, aren't these people supposed to be running? Like, they just crossed over the border. But
wait,
no,
they're not worried.
They were so thrilled. And then I went and watched them go sit down and get picked up and shuffled across the country. And I tracked even one of these ladies down from the border to New York City. And I tracked her down because she gave me her WhatsApp. And I was like, how did in one day you go from the border to America's biggest city? And then from there, kind of...
You're by yourself here, Nick. Nobody else is here with you.
Yeah, I'm all by myself.
Let me tell you how many millions, tens of thousands of young boys, young men are watching this saying, if this guy's got this kind of courage, I cannot tell you how many people you're probably inspiring right now with the work, because it takes fear to do this. Mm-hmm. There's a guy, Rob, if you go to my Twitter account, there's a guy named, I don't know if you saw this tweet from him yesterday. I think you did. No, you did see it because you commented on it as well. This guy named Josh Gerstein, okay? Josh Gerstein is somebody that's been go a little bit right there. If you just type on his tweet, look what he says.
Who is this guy?
Okay, so you should know. This guy's been around. He is not you should know. He's an establishment mainstream media guy. At some point, the amateur effort to knock on doors of home daycares intersects with robust stand your ground laws.
You see the last name right there? Gorstein. We already know what type of time this guy's on. We already know what his ethnicity is. Gorstein. Josh Gorstein. Sure. I bet you Pat's gonna call him white. It's kind of obvious. You could look, bro. His last name is a dead giveaway. Come on, man.
Do you know what he's saying?
He's one of these leftist ones too, as well. You know, the leftist Jews, they always happen to be so far left, bro. They're very egalitarian. Once they become like, once they identify as a liberal or progressive. Now look at the Jonathan Greenblatt, head of the ADL. Dude's a very hardcore progressive type, super liberal. It makes sure why he's always, it makes sense why he's always trying to cancel someone on the right, because like he always thinks they're all, for the most part, he thinks they're all anti-Semitic, racist, or whatever. I mean, the ADL is a super pro cancel culture organization. So one of the reasons why they need to be defunded and debanked and also abolished.
So somebody can attack you. Now look what Twitter, on the bottom, readers added to it. Stand your ground laws remove the duty to retreat from a threat when a person is in a place they have a legal right to be. Knocking on doors of a supposedly public business does not constitute a threat, so stand your ground could not be invoked as a defense. That's Twitter responding to it. If you go to my response to it above, Rob, if you go to, just go back one, yeah, there you go. And I said, at some point, amateurs have to do the job that professional journalists refuse to do. That's what's called courage. Can you go Google him? Can you go Google him to see who he is, Josh Gerstein? Because he's not a regular guy. This is a guy that's been around the block for a while. Go to his Wikipedia. Go to, maybe type it, maybe put his name on YouTube, okay? This is a political guy. If you type his name on YouTube, you go a little bit lower, you see right there, it says Josh Gerstein Politico. He's been on media all over, for many, many years. This guy's calling out a 23-year-old, which, the reason why I did this is because the video you're showing me right now back on the border, go to the border video you just had up a minute ago, it takes courage to do this. Your brother's not with you, your family's not with you, not a friend is with you.
No, I'm all by myself.
What did your family think when you said I'm going out here to the border?
A lot of times I don't tell them, especially when I'm going to go do a video.
Your mom loves this.
I don't tell them, but I'm going to go do something until it's done. I kind of know that's the best way to go about things at that point. But yeah, I think everyone was shocked. I mean, I was down there and some guy who works for Border Patrol, he's like, what are you doing? Like, don't you know there's a cartel war on the other side?
The Border Patrol guy's telling you that?
Yeah, a guy who used to work in Border Patrol. He's like, don't you know there's a cartel war going on the other side? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm giving these people like food. I thought these people were like starving. I thought they were like coming over, like just fleeing. I was like giving them food, talking to him. Like, I give a kid a shirt off my back so he could have a new shirt when he came over. Like, I thought like these people were like fleeing and coming in, but they were just being trafficked by the cartel. And
it is kind of it's kind of dangerous to do that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Going on the other side, especially knowing that, yeah, the cartel is, the one thing about them is knowing that Nick Shirley is a white guy. They kidnap him. They can use him for some serious ransom to get what they want, honestly speaking. But thank God it didn't happen, of course. But that's very dangerous. But hey, I'll give them credit though, where credit's due. That's also very brave. I will give them that, because it's not. It takes courage to go over the border to interview a bunch of immigrants literally coming into the country. We're seeing it at real time when he's doing that. He's interviewing them as they're coming into the country. They're being smuggled into the country. It is crazy to me that someone actually did that. I think I might react to that video soon for you guys. Maybe Monday after the show if I have time.
So yeah, I just went up there and started doing journalism.
And then outside of this, Rob, if you go back to his channel, it's important if you go to videos and then go to popular. Okay, video popular. Zoom in a little bit, Rob. The most popular video on YouTube you did is not even the Minnesota one. That's your 6th most popular video. The most popular one is you went inside CCOT, the mega prison.
Oh, shit. He went to DCOT. He went to El Salvador's massive prison. You know, I might react to that one actually, too, as well. He infiltrated Rio, Brazil's most dangerous gang inside American city of zombies. Damn. He did some interesting ones inside the world's most unconventional prison, El Salvador. I'm guessing that's the full version of the show. This was just like a clip because it's like 11:36. This one's 31:24. Los Angeles has fallen. Anti-ICE protesters take over the city. I reacted to that. I think I reacted to that. Yeah, I reacted to that like a couple of videos ago about this massive protest that's going on in Los Angeles. And then also, as you can see right here, investigated Minnesota's billion-dollar fraud scandal, which that's sitting at 20. I think that's already risen in numbers now in viewership. Is at 2.4 million views. That's probably already gone up another mil or something. Let's see, asking Greenlanders about becoming part of the United States. That's 2.3 million. This one I'm guessing is where they're at, searching for MS-13. Is he with ICE agents? Yeah, he's with ICE agents. Because I see the patch right there. I'm assuming that's ICE agents. Damn. Shout out to his form of journalism. I would give him credit though. It takes real courage to go out here and do some of the stuff that Nick Shirley's doing.
full of deadly gangsters. That's in El Salvador, right?
Yes.
Then you infiltrated Rio, Brazil's most dangerous gang. That's you right there interviewing somebody, okay? Then you went inside America's city of zombies, Kingston, Philadelphia. Then inside world's most unconventional prison, this is again El Salvador. Then Los Angeles has fallen, anti-ICE protesters take over. And then it's the Minnesota video that you've done. So for those that don't know, you've been doing this for a minute, and it's grown in the last couple of years to 1 million subs. How many subscribers did you have on YouTube early this year in January?
In January, I think I had like 300,000.
300,000 subs.
But since I've been home for my mission, which has been 2 years, I came home, I had 20,000 subscribers. Now I just hit 1 million, 1.2 million subscribers.
1.2 million subscribers. Unbelievable. And while you're doing this, are you seeing others that are doing, because I saw something with Ohio, right? Wasn't there something with Ohio? Another thing with Kent, Washington. Are these your friends, or these are just others that are independently being inspired to do the same?
Like, I wouldn't say, some of them are my friends, but a lot of them are still probably just inspired by what I'm doing, and they're just, I would say they're like fellow comrades, I guess, like mutual respect for each one. I try not to give all my information to people, because the reason why I've had my success is because how I go about and do stuff, so I'm not just like telling people to go and copy me, right? I think there's like an art form, and if you want, there's a way to be inspired, and there's a way to just copycat people.
Yeah, I will tell you, either way,
that is also very, very true. Like, it's the same thing kind of applies in political commentary. Everyone has their own flair, their own style to how it is. Everyone wants to either be this style, be that style, you know. You got the Candace Owens style where you're just throwing out conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory instead of sticking straight to one point and honing in on one point instead of just throwing out a bunch of conspiracy theories all over the fucking place. Or you got the Nick Fuentes style, which is very factional, very on point, and very well articulative. And you got Tucker Carlson like, ho, 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 ho. That's Tucker Carlson style. His laugh almost every video. Then he, you know, he's very factual too. It's just the guy is very awkward talker on the mic, and I'm not the best one just yet. I'm still perfecting that. But it's just like when I see Tucker Carlson do his interviews, it's like it's so funny because he comes off like a very awkward guy. But when you look at his history, it brings up some questions about is he part of intelligence? That's the most important part. So that's the most important thing. Like I said, you everyone in the political commentary, we all have an art form style. We all have a way of doing our commentary when it comes to analyzing and speaking about politics. Everyone has their own approach to it. Everyone has their own flair to it. Everyone sometimes are going to come off saying the same thing because, like, if you just say the same information, it's just going to come off as being repetitive as someone else. You know what I'm saying? So that's the important thing to take away in this, because everyone's going to sound like they're copying everyone, because like the information is going to come out the same way regardless if we say it in this exact manner or we say it in this manner. You see, there isn't some truth to, like, yeah, there's some truth to art form about when it comes to certain stuff. Like Nick Shirley's doing this like IRL investigation discovery, kind of like an old school journalism take, where these guys used to go out and travel everywhere, film stuff or whatever. And I believe there was this show called Trafficked. It's on National Geographic Channel. I forgot the woman's name. She's a blonde haired woman. She does this investigational investigation to a bunch of stuff that's going on everywhere, you know, where it involves drugs, prostitution, you know, a bunch of this crap, illegal, into like the dark underworld, pretty much. So everyone has their own flair to something, you know. Of course, we all can come off as sounding like we're being repetitive, but I mean, like I said before, if the information comes out in a certain way and we all say it in this almost the same exact manner, that's because like there's no better way of saying it.
I think it's phenomenal. Even if other guys are saying, man, I'm going to go do what Nick does, go at it. Because you can't be in 300 places at the same time, right? You have to be in, you know, I'm looking at your eyes. You know what your eyes are telling me right now? You haven't slept a lot.
No, I haven't slept. The past 3 nights I've probably slept like 10 hours.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But that's what it takes. I mean, look, here's the reality of it, folks. Let me tell you, today is December 31st, okay? It's December 31st. It's New Year's Eve. He's not from Fort Lauderdale, okay? What is a 23-year-old doing in a city he's not to just come on a podcast? You know, he could say, well, you know, the average 23, you know what, why don't we do January 2nd after the New Year's? No. Hey, Nick, I want to do a podcast. I want to sit down and talk to you. Let's figure it out. I'm in Minnesota. Rock calls, boom, 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 boom. He's in here in town. We're doing. These are things that, you know, most investigative journalists would need to do. You would expect people like this to do it. But today, the biggest competition they have is independent journalists that are willing to go out there and be edgy, that are willing to go out 10 hours of sleep in 3 days to expose a story. So I'm proud of the work that you're doing. There's a lady that made a video and said, Nick Shirley, please, if you see this. Did you see this video? Rob, can you play this clip? Watch this, folks. Go ahead, Rob.
Nick Shirley, I hope you see this video. Please come to Columbus, Ohio. The reporting you did in Minnesota was amazing. Thank you for that. And if you come to Columbus, Ohio, you will find the exact same fraud. You will see the exact same things, daycares everywhere, the home health care. I mentioned that in my video. I do not have your bravery to go out here and knock on doors like you did. I don't even want to leave my room right now, okay? But you could come here and do what needs to be done, please. Please investigate. Please talk to our government officials. And you see how the police escorted you out of that building? The Columbus police are on the same take, I am sure. Allegedly. Let me say allegedly before I got the Columbus police coming after me, as well as the Somalis. It's a lot. In the meantime, please come here and investigate. You will find the exact same things. And the rest of the country needs to know that it is real. Thank you for all you are doing. And please, please, please stay safe.
By the way, this is one of many videos of people that are making, asking you to come to different places. Do you have plans? Because I'm sure you've seen the numbers while they're doing this. California wants to put a 5% tax on the wealthy, and then they get exposed for $24 billion of homelessness fund that they got. Newsom, that nothing happened to it. The train that they say they're going to build, $18 billion, nothing's been built yet. Not a single rail's been put there. All of these things that are being exposed. Some people may be saying, hey, Nick, maybe California, maybe New York, maybe this. Are there certain places you're targeting next?
Yeah, I have a whole list of places I want to go next, especially with the fraud. So me and David will be going to more cities. I'm going to bring David, because David's the man, dude. Everyone loved him.
Tell me why.
But he's super smart, and he just cares about the country, and he cares about law being upheld. And fraud is fraud. Like, it's so annoying that you have people receiving millions of dollars. Meanwhile, we are all working so hard just to give our sometimes even half of our check to the government, right? And so we'll be going to more places. When you have a place like California where they just lose $24 billion, it needs to be investigated. People deserve to know where they're going, especially when it's affecting your quality of life if you're living in California.
Yeah, there's no question about it. By the way, Theo Von yesterday, did you see what he tweeted yesterday?
Yeah, he's like, why are we paying taxes?
Why are we paying taxes? Right? If you're paying taxes, it's because you want to see good happen with the taxes that you're paying.
Yeah, and I think what's so amazing is my journalism actually creating change. What we saw with what's the department called? The not HSI, HSS, yeah, HSS.
HSS, it's the 100 what is it? $185 million that they're stopping.
Yeah. So what's so amazing about what I'm doing right now with my journalism is that it's actually creating change. So people are mad at me for this though. You're seeing them come at me on CBS, CNN, and every single time they point out something, they say conservative YouTuber, MAGA YouTuber. They just can't admit that I'm creating real change inside of the country right now. And never before has one of their investigations ever led to a point where they say, oh wait, we're going to stop funding and we're going to make sure everything's legit before we start giving them money. I mean, I could, that video alone, I could have just saved the country hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars.
Well, I think you did. And I think what you did is a lot of people are now getting exposed and they're not happy about it. Matter of fact, there was when you were in Minnesota, a guy pulled up to you, right? And he says, I think I know what you're doing, okay? Why don't you just say what you really want to say, right? This is the exchange. Is this yesterday or just a couple days ago?
This is yesterday.
This is yesterday.
Yeah, so we have a whole other video coming out about other fraud that's taking place.
You have a whole new video coming out.
Whole new video. It's going to be a masterpiece because it is crazy. And every single time.
More than the first?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be crazier because now the Somalis were they were after me. Like, they were coming in, people were stopping in the middle of intersections, hopping out of their car, and I had to get security for this video, coming out just trying to literally attack me.
I saw one of the videos that somebody tried to attack you and you tried to protect your camera guy.
Yeah.
Is that still part one or is that part two?
There's so much going on, I don't know.
You know which one I'm talking about? Because I saw one of the clips where you're like, no, you didn't let the guy hit your camera guy. Every time they were swinging at the camera guy, you were standing in front of it.
Yes, I think that was part one. Part one, yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah, that was part one. This one, people were literally pulling over and getting out, like in the middle of an intersection at a red light. They're stopping their car and coming out, and they're just coming out and trying to slam me for being a racist, for being Islamophobe. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing another black man in Minnesota, and they're calling me a racist.
Show that one video, Rob, the one with the guy saying, why don't you just tell the truth on what you're trying to do? Go ahead, Rob, that one.
Yes, sir. Why are you sensationalizing the propaganda?
What are we sensationalizing?
Attack our community. What's your final objective?
We're not attacking the community by any means.
Are you making good money from this?
We're looking for fraud. For instance, can you answer our question? Where's Safari Transportation Company 607? It's not there.
How much money are you? How much money are you making?
Dreamline Security.
How much money are you making?
Money off of YouTube. That's how I make my money.
So you're making money off of sensationalizing.
That's my job.
And attacking the Somali community.
I'm not attacking you guys. We're asking.
I'll tell you the reason why this is happening. All right. Let me tell you the reason why you're attacking this.
Correct.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with race. This is fraud.
This absolutely has to do with us being Muslim.
No, it does not.
All right, and us being from Africa. This is a constitution.
This guy, I guarantee you. Let me pull up an image right quick of what this guy probably looks like. Let me pull my mug up right quick. I'm telling you, this is what these Somalians look like every time, because like they're so fucking mad. These guys are so fucking mad so much, but they look like this. Let's see. Remember, these Somali empires are so fucking... Like, I guarantee you, he looks like this while he's screaming and says, hey, my live stream got affected. Oops. I guarantee you, this is what this guy looks like right now. I guarantee you, this is what he looks like. This we the captain ass dude right over here is screaming at Nick Shirley looking like this. Look at this. Look at the hairline. Look at the retarded teeth. Look at this. He's screaming at Nick Shirley right now and saying, look at this. This is American. This look at it all like American to you. Let me ask the audience. Right in the comment section. Do you think this is American? Do you think this is American? Look at this guy. This is look at all like it is even fit to be in the West. These are what we letting in right now. This is what he claims to be American. I'm American. I'm American. That's what he says. We're Muslim because we're Muslim. No, we don't have no problem with you coming here and assimilating. But at the same time, when you're committing fraud, that's when we have a problem, buddy. So, this guy's mad for no fucking reason at all.
No argument. If you don't want us here, change the freedom of religion. Say, listen, we don't want Muslims in this country anymore.
We're not saying.
No. Because when I go onto your comments, when I go onto your comments, what I see is people that say we do not want Muslims here. Kick every single Muslim in Minnesota out of Minnesota. That's the comment. You're preparing for the Somali community to maybe be taken to concentration camps. Just like the Japanese community. All right, you're sensational.
Bruh, I'm telling you, and I showed you guys this picture earlier. This is what these guys do. This is what these guys are, man. These guys are like literally, there's not much there left in the mind, bro. These Somalians that come here, they feel like they're so fucking entitled to being here, and like they have to actually be here. But you can go back at any point if we had a serious government. You say you want us to change the Constitution and change freedom of religion, even though you don't even understand how that's even comes about. You know, think about this. If we actually did this and we became a monarch, you people would have been put to death, not being sent back. You would have been put to death if you were sitting in this country committing fraud. So you thinking that under a monarch, you would have been easily just let go. You probably would have been put to death. And I'm not calling for that, whatever. But if this was a monarch, you would have been killed. I'm just saying. And I'm not, that's not a call for violence.
No, we're not.
We're asking about fraud.
What you do, you hate Muslims.
I'm not saying
you hate Muslims. Why are you attacking us? Are we the only community that suffers because of fraud?
We're talking about
Are we the only community that does fraud? Listen, let me say something.
And see, and dude pretty much admitted it right there. Are we the only community that commits fraud? I mean, like you're basically kind of admitting it right there, buddy. Like you're going off, and yet you just by accident admit that you're fact that you guys all committed fraud.
Fraud.
We have what, 1,000 providers?
Okay. What did he just say?
Even it's 2,000.
Are we okay? Let it continue because it's important what he's saying here. Sorry.
Sacrifice the safety of 80,000 people because of fucking 2,000 providers. Are you fucking mad? Are you stupid?
I'm not stupid. You're stupid.
You're sensationalizing. When a mass shooting happens in Minnesota,
that's what you can't teach, folks.
Any Somali,
oh my God.
Somali gets hurt.
I'm telling you, he looks like that Captain Phillips dude. I'm telling you, he looks like the Captain Phillips dude. I'm 100% being honest. I'm being completely honest. I'm telling you, they look like the Captain Phillips nigga. Bro's up here crashing out, and he probably looks, I can't even tell what the guy's face is, but I tell you, he looks like that picture. I could just envision he looks like that picture in my head right now.
It's because of you sensationalizers, you son of a bitch. Sensationalizers. Wow, get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. Get the fuck out of our neighborhood. We don't want you here. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Dude says this is his neighborhood, but bro, you never founded it. You never built it. It's not yours. You're there as a guest.
So you can pause it right there. Listen, you can't teach courage. You cannot teach courage. You can read all the books in the world. You cannot teach courage. You either have it, you don't have it. You got it. Major props to you. By the way, here's Newsweek. You ready? This is from AP. When he says, why don't you go target other audiences, other communities? From AP in Newsweek, Rob, if you can pull up this article, you know which one I'm talking about. We read about this yesterday. AP citing the U.S. Attorney's Office for Minnesota reported that Somali Americans made up 89% of those that had been charged in connection with the case of December 19. Trump has repeatedly criticized the state's large Somali community in recent weeks, meaning all the fraud that's happening, 89% of it was tied to that community. The new allegations follows a series of fraud cases involving government programs in the state. The firestorm over alleged mass fraud began earlier this year and intensified in December after the state acting U.S. attorney said $9 billion or more in federal funds allocated to 14 state-run programs since 2018 have been stolen. Again, 89% was tied to Somalis. We don't care what nationality you are. We just want to know who's doing it. If you come to America, you assimilate, you make the place a better place, let's turn you into a flipping hero. But if you come and you steal from taxpayers, and you have the data that came up, Rob, which is so frustrating, that says 10 years after, you know which one I'm talking about, the chart I sent it to yesterday, folks who lived in America, Minnesota, for 10 years plus, what percentage of them were still taking welfare or social, social programs that we have? 78% were 10 years after living in America, in Minneapolis. What do you mean 78%? 78%. These are numbers and stats that are out there. Rob, if you don't have it, I'll send it to you so the audience can see this. And by the way, while I'm looking for this, can you do me a favor while I'm looking for this, Rob? Can you play the clip of that one guy saying, yes, you white man, yes, you white girl, you go work while I'm paying for this. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. I said that to you yesterday. And
the entitlement's insane from
the level of boldness. What is the energy? Why are you talking to this guy in that video? What happened afterwards?
That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, the entitlement from these fucking people, bro. They come here and taking our tax dollars or whatever. Like, it's crazy.
They leave, the cops come, the security come. What happened afterwards?
A whole mob of Somalis came. Like, they stopped the street and they just started honking. Probably at least 10.
And did they at all at any point try to hit you, swing at you, or no?
That guy kept coming after me and security had to keep getting in front of him.
Your security or his security?
My security.
So you had to hire security for the second time when you went to Minnesota?
Oh yeah, I had to get massive security for this video. I had 4 people with me because of how crazy these people got. I mean, literally pushed me. That guy pushed me off the street. He came after me, and you see they try to call you Islamophobe, racist. I'm like, well, answer the question. Where is Safari transportation? Is it right here? Because
I can't wait to see the video when it actually drops because I really want to see what this guy looks like. I'm telling you, in my head, I don't mean to keep pausing, but it's like, I'm telling you, in my head, this guy looks like the Somalian pirate from Captain Phillips. You can't tell me otherwise. Like, I'm envisioning it in my head right now that he looks like Captain Phillips. That I'm not Captain Phillips. He looks like the Somalian pirate from Captain Phillips. You cannot tell me that's not the case. Like, all these Somalian pirates all look the same. They have the same, the same physiognomy. They have the same hairline, receding hairline. They have the same bone structures. Their bones come out looking a little bit weird. Like, you cannot tell me these people don't look like that.
Said it's right here from the state of Minnesota, but it's a wiring company. It's for money. And you want to answer the question. They know fraud's happening. Like, that guy dang well knows that fraud's happening inside his place. He said, are we the only community that commits fraud? Are you only coming after us because we commit fraud? And
yeah, it's pretty wild. This is the clip of a guy, and we verified on X to see if it's real or not. This is a Somali guy. Look what he said. Folks, if you're wondering, like, hey, be fair with this community, be fair with that community, and all this other stuff, it's very simple. Find out for yourself on what they're saying. Watch the energy of this guy. What does this decrease your blood pressure, or does it increase your blood pressure? Go ahead, Rob.
You work all day. You don't got Thank you for working so hard so I can be home.
See what I mean? Like, look at it. Look at the messed up hairline, bro. Look at the messed up hairline. You cannot tell me that these guys don't have the worst physiognomy on the planet. This guy looks like a scammer. He looks like a pirate, bro. When I think of pirates, now I think of Captain Jack Sparrow. That's what I think of in my head. But then when I think about this and I see these guys right here, these are real actual pirates. Like, these are the real pirates. I always think of like pirates like being, looking like, the white European pirates or whatever in my head. But then when I look at these Somalian pirates, I think to myself, these are actual pirates. These are actual literal pirates. These are what they really look like in real life. And people think I'm just being harsh on the Somali community. Listen, I understand this is a complete distraction from the Epstein files. The fact that there's war going on. That's why I covered the first story about the press conference between Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, because that's the most important part. But really, we're not gonna. But I can multitask and also cut out this massive fraud that we have going on in the United States, especially in the Somali community, by people like this, who sits up here and goes on TikTok and brags about Americans, taxpayer dollars going towards his retarded ass. I'm on YouTube, but it's like, hey, I don't even care, because quite frankly, this is what these guys do. They'll come here, they commit fraud, and then they'll brag about it on a social media platform like TikTok. This is what this guy's doing.
All day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work for me, you white animals. Work for me. And the U.S. government they work for me. All of you work.
I'm telling you. And then they come here and they come with this type of bravado and wonder why we want them deported.
For me, now go to work.
By the way, I showed this to Jake. I said, is this 3D? He starts laughing. I said, is this AI? He says, Pat, that doesn't look like... Every second he's watching it, he started going like, maybe it is AI, because this doesn't sound right for somebody to talk like that. Then I had Humberto and Rob look into it. Then we went to Grok, because it verifies the videos. That's an actual video. There's another video, Rob, of a guy that's at Home Depot. And a Home Depot employee is getting upset at these guys, and he says, do you have what kind of cash here? Let me throw some cash your way. Let me throw some cash your way. Did you see that clip? I texted to you earlier. You should have it. I just sent it to you again. If you check your text, you'll have it. While you're doing that, Rob, can you pull up that chart? And I'm going to go to Nick on this one. If you can pull up the chart. So this is the chart. This is a very important chart, guys.
81%.
81. Can you tell them what this chart is, Nick, please?
Yeah, so this chart's showing the population of Somalis inside of Minnesota compared to native households. And you're having 81% of the Somali population is on welfare.
As you can see right here, native households, any welfare, 21%, cash, 6%, food stamps, 7%, 18%. Then this is Somali immigrant households, 81% any welfare, 81% is on welfare, 27% cash, food stamps, 54%, and Medicaid, 73%. Somali immigrant households, 10 years in U.S. Bruh. It's not even that much difference right now. According to this chart, it's not even that much difference. 78%, 25%, 48%, and 68%. Bruh. If I had a soundboard, I would literally hit the fire button. But this is literally crazy. This is literally crazy. You telling me they've been here this long and they are one of the biggest groups in recipients when it comes to welfare. They get the cash, they get the food stamps, they get the Medicaid. Bruh. Our founders didn't come found this country just to allow these types of people come in here and just take advantage of the system like this. They set the system up for, well, first they set it up for like free white men can come out here and make a ends meet for their family and generate the type of success needed in order for their bloodlines to succeed. Then once, you know, black slaves, whatever, were freed and stuff, it was set up for them to also do the same, even though some may argue that the assimilation process didn't go smoothly for blacks, you know, when they were free, because we just got integrated together with whites instead of properly assimilating. But regardless of the fact, it's 2025, blacks still should be more outraged about this, quite frankly, even though for the wrong reasons, especially when it comes to welfare. They should be learning to read more and learning to advance their knowledge more and becoming well more adapted with the system to where they can set themselves up for more success than relying on the government to keep giving them free shit. But the point of the matter is, even blacks that have been here since slavery times should be outraged by this. The indigenous people, the natives, Native Americans, whatever you want to call them, you know, they live in gated communities. They already get reparations from the government, so it's not really much to say about that. But the point of the matter is, like, Americans are funding these people. Taxpayers are funding these people. We're giving loads of money to these people, and look what they're doing with it. They're abusing the system. Again, people will always tell me, like, well, we need to fix the system first or whatever. Look, that's fine to fix the system, but these people still got to go. They're not Americans, fundamentally.
And 54% on food stamps and 73% on Medicaid. So it's not even, and I'll tell you why there's so many that, and why they're able to do this is, for instance, just take the daycares, for example. So a Muslim man, he's able to have 4 wives. They go and work at these daycares. They don't actually get any tax. They don't get any, how do you say, like, to get taxed? These people don't actually get taxed, or they don't actually file that they're working, so they're just getting paid cash, as you saw in the video. And so then when they go to the office and whatnot, they're able to say, well, we need money because we're not working. And so you have 4, you can have up to 4 wives all collecting welfare, and for one marriage.
What a business model.
Yeah, and they're all living inside these communities, and so their money is just getting funneled around, literally billions of dollars is getting funneled around inside of these communities, and they're also collecting welfare on top of it. So they don't pay for their food, they're not paying for their housing because they're all on welfare. Meanwhile, they're getting cash because the money they get from CCAP, from these daycares, for instance, is all tax exempt. And just wait till I tell you guys about how they're moving millions of dollars to the airport and sending it back to Somalia.
Airport?
Yes. I had a whistleblower come on my new video that we're creating, and inside the Minneapolis airport, for years now, you can even see it, Fox News covered in 2017, they have been funneling millions of dollars in cash through TSA.
Through TSA?
Through TSA.
I saw something about this. I'm trying to see if it's the same thing.
Yeah, I believe it probably is, because they're literally receiving millions of dollars, and they just send it back over to Somalia, and they just have to get to Dubai. They have to get to Dubai so they can then send out that money.
Yeah, here's a New York Post story, Rob. Minnesota multi-million-dollar daycare fraud reportedly stretches back to 2014. Saw scammers leave U.S. with up to $1 million a pop in cash. Okay, so this story, tens of millions of dollars in cash transported in luggage, started flying out of Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport around a decade ago, with a marked uptick beginning in 2016 when travelers departed with a total of $84 million and another $100 million the next year, Fox 9 reported in 2018. The troubling report has taken an explosive new significance since the Feds alleged a mind-boggling up to $9 billion of fraud scheme in which supposed businesses such as daycares were taken away. So here's a question. How much of this you think Tim Walz knew is happening?
Oh, he's known about it. That's why he's saying fraud's been happening for years. He literally knows that fraud has been happening. Like, he is so stupid. Like, he knows it's happening. If someone's stealing money from me, and if I'm giving them money, and they're going to do something with it, what am I going to do? I'm going to stop giving them money. He's enabled and continued to let this fraud happen, and so is everybody else inside that Capitol building, because they're the ones writing the checks.
Yeah, Rob, is this the clip? Because this kind of brings me to a completely different thing that I'd like some people to look into. Rob, is this him talking about that he knows fraud is happening?
In 2019, yep.
This is a 2019 clip?
Yep.
Okay, go for it. 6 years ago.
I want to be clear that the legislative audit report gave us a clear path. It told us that we could do better, and just like Minlar's, I now own that, and I own the fix for that. But I do want to be clear, before we take some other questions on this, that what needs to stop is a demonization of one community involved in this. What needs to stop is an absolutely unproven storyline that continues to resurface on the House floor, that this money went to terrorists and it's targeted at one group of our citizens here, of Minnesotans. We'll own that this thing needs to be fixed. We'll own that there were problems in this. We will own that there are fixes, and we think we propose the right amount, but we're open to that to try and close this. But again, I am not going to allow folks to use this as a hammer against a group of people.
Okay, so he's not going to allow to use this as a hammer. Okay, so then the next question is, how do you think he benefit from it? Not just election-wise, but do you think he benefit from it financially? How do you think he benefit from it?
There has to be some sort of incentive where he's benefiting from it, whether it be he's actually receiving money or
he's definitely receiving money. You can't tell me otherwise. This guy's not receiving at all a little money on the side, and also re-election, a promise of re-election every time to remain governor of Minnesota. Like, a guy like Tim Walz, who's retarded as he is, somehow keeps remaining in power. It's kind of obvious that it's some form of payoff from this community of people that are, quite frankly, evading the country. And then also I see Jacob Fry, when he was elected, his re-election, I believe, there was one of the Somali scammers that were literally at his re-election party dancing with him, seen in a video. I'm not even joking when I say this. You can find a video, him dancing with the Somali that sit there and also was one of the ones that committed the fraud. That's insane to me. So it's clear as day he's getting paid off, and he's also getting promised that he's going to be reelected because the Somali community is going to obviously support him as long as he puts their interests first and foremost over Americans. It's one of the reasons why Trump called Tim Walz a retard, because he is a retard.
Obviously the votes, but he has to have some sort of incentive to allow this to happen. Maybe he's getting somebody else rich, and then he's then getting money to funnel for his next campaign, whatnot. That's kind of how I even had a mayor in California tell me once that that's why there's so many nonprofits, is because they create these nonprofits, and then that money can go back to funneling somebody else's campaign. But so Tim Walz, he's probably receiving some sort of benefits. I know he's been to China a lot, Tim Walz. He's actually not even from Minnesota. He was born in Nebraska. I don't even know if he owns a home in Minnesota. Like, I don't think he actually physically owns a home in Minnesota. He lives in the governor's mansion, but lots of really strange things underneath Tim Walz. And why would it take, if you're giving somebody millions of dollars and you notice that millions of dollars are going to places where they shouldn't be, how many years do you think it would take for you to solve that issue?
It would 6 months, 3 to 6 months. Yeah. You put the entire team behind it because you want to be able to gain credibility that we're addressing this issue and it cannot continue.
So he's at 6 years. And then in 2023, he says, or is it 2023, I think he said, we're going to give them a raise. We're going to give the child care a raise in Minnesota.
Yeah, this is a little weird because the one thing, when Kamala Harris was choosing the VP, and, is it going to be Newsom? Newsom rejected it. Is it going to be Josh Shapiro? They're not comfortable that he was Jewish and that, he had some stuff, skeletons in the closet from a previous friend that he protected. They claimed that.
I think Josh Shapiro was also, was he gay? I believe so. And also he had his house attacked too as well. Someone tried to burn down his house. Obviously, I don't condone violence against anyone, no matter how, well, if it's a pedophile, of course, or I'm on YouTube, a PDF. I don't condone violence against anyone, but maybe a PDF, you could make a argument. They deserve far worse than anything on this planet.
Was the reason, right? And Josh is not a fan of Kamala Harris. Nobody in a million years thought it was going to be a guy named Tim Walz. But here's what happened, Rob. If you want to pull this up, when they announced Tim Walz, what's weird is 24 hours after announcing Tim Walz, a record-breaking $36 million went into the campaign. It was a record-breaking thing that happened.
Whoa.
I don't know if you knew this or not. Harris's campaign raises $36 million in 24 hours after announcing Walz as running mate.
That is outrageous.
That money came from, of course, someone can investigate this. And they said this was a record-breaking number. Who is Tim Walz? It's not like it's a massive name. Where's that money coming from? You know, we don't know who this individual was to be able to get this kind of money, but it gets people to question where this money came from.
Yeah, 100%. That's kind of goes back to my point that they'll start these organizations, they'll start these daycares, and then they can just get all this money tax free, and then they can funnel it wherever they want.
Yeah, so that is the part where how is he winning from doing this? Then there's also some people that were speculating, saying, you know, Tim Walz getting in. This is such a big issue nationwide with Democrats in different places. I even saw one that said Pennsylvania is also another place they're looking into. If this becomes a national thing on the Democratic side for fraud, this is not just bad for Tim Walz. This is bad for everybody. Yesterday, Scott Jennings on CNN, I don't know if you saw this exchange between Scott Jennings and Dirabi.
Yeah.
Did you see that exchange, Rob? If you want to play this clip, it was Scott doing his typical thing, which is, you know, destroying everybody on that show and, you know, the CEO of CNN. Rob, if you want to play this clip real quick, watch this exchange, folks.
Why is it that right now everything seems to be about whether or not the people involved here are Somali, even though one of the biggest...
They're always worrying about, see, they play race politics more on their side, but they call, but anywhere on the right side, especially when it pertains to whites, they play race politics now. They get called, that's bad. But these people openly play race politics all the fucking time, and we don't call that shit out. That's crazy, the double standard between the left and the right.
People who were involved in one of these frauds was not Somali at all. She was a white woman. So respond to that.
Doesn't that disprove everything you just argued?
Well,
they're obviously the answer's no.
I don't really like Scott Jennings because he's a hardcore Zionist, but hey, in this regard, he had this exchange won.
Rounding up everybody who was involved in fraud.
No, they're not rounding up everybody. They're all talking about Somalis. That's the point.
I want them to.
See, because like they're worried so much about the ringleader who was a white woman, and excusing all the other Somalians that were also heavily involved. Quite frankly, I think the entire entourage was all Somalians, and the one ringleader, quote unquote, was the white woman. And I said this before in a previous episode that they're focusing so much on the white woman to try to pin her as the ringleader and the dart maker, and not at all even contemplating the fact that the Somalians, which make up majority of all the fraud that's going on, were at all the vocal leaders, the thought leaders. You know, they look like they have the IQ of 68, which in some cases they probably do. But to sit here and just pin it on like a liberal white woman who, for the most part, is not the smartest of them all, to sit there and come up with the idea to do the fraud, it's like, of course, CNN would I'm not surprised how low they would stoop, because like they would throw the liberal white woman underneath the bus, but try to protect the Somali community, especially when it involves Somalian scammers. Like, these people have no shame at all.
Anyone who is involved in defrauding American taxpayers of what apparently amounts to $9 billion.
Look at this soy boy. Look at he has the same hairline as that Somalian in that TikTok video. Look at that.
Dollars in a very, very small state. Somali, whether they're citizens, immigrants, white, I don't care.
You don't care if
I
they
want
target
the fraud to stop.
But do you support the targeting of this one community?
I support the targeting. I support the targeting of people engaged in fraud.
But do you support the targeting of the Somali American community as directed by the president?
If they are engaged in fraud,
ethnicity.
That's not what he said.
That's it.
If Beta says it's the case, who cares? Go keep playing it.
Should that make them immune?
That's a straw man argument. No, just answer the question.
I did. I want anyone involved in fraud to be targeted. Anyone involved in fraud.
But not based on their ethnicity.
I want it based on whether they're involved in fraud.
Is it really so hard to answer that question?
I want it.
Why?
It's so hard. The only
why are they so focused on the color of these people and not the fact they're committing fraud? It's just like, bro, they hear Trump go on a rant about the Somali community, and then all of a sudden they've been so fixated on the fact that it's about their color, it's about their race or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. It's about the fraud, bro. Like, bro, I'll never understand like the stupidity of leftists, bro. They'll sit there and keep making these arguments that, hey, it's not about the fraud. No, it's about the fact they're Somalian. Bro, this is their argument every time. They want to fixate on identity politics. They want to fixate on that. But when we play that on this side, we get called racist. We get called fascists, Nazis, whatever. But when they play it, they're virtual signaling. They're doing the moral high ground. Sitting up here trying to cater to these people's or whatever, and basically they're doing far more racist rhetoric than us on the right, because like they're basically sitting up here saying they're not smart enough to do this. So we should pin all this on the liberal white woman, the ringleader. Like, they're doing far more racist rhetoric than us, and they don't even realize they're doing that.
We shouldn't target people based on their
criteria I have is fraud.
We shouldn't target people based on their ethnicity. I can say that. Can you say that?
I can say that.
Everyone here can say, can you target people based on their ethnicity is bad.
You should
Dr. Jennings won't say that. Why won't you say that?
Because I don't agree that that's what's happening. I don't agree with your fallacy. I don't agree with your
There's another clip in this one. There's another clip where he is just going at it with Abby. It's an exchange between the two of them. But finally, these types of conversations, is this the one?
I think, no, that's not.
There's one that he's going with Abby back and forth, and it's a very, very strong exchange that they're having. The point is, at this point, is this the one?
This is where they talk about Tim Walz claiming that fraud was a white supremacy.
Yeah, this is the one. Go ahead.
It's Democrats who have put Somali diaspora in Minneapolis at the center of their party and their state's politics. It's a small portion of the population. There is a bunch of fraud that goes on, and even Tim Walz has claimed that any investigation of this fraud is akin to white supremacy.
No, he has not said that. He has not said that.
He has said
He
that.
has not said that.
This is what happens when your own federal government wages war against you. This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy, the idea of white supremacy, the idea of white supremacy, the idea of white supremacy.
So this is why you can't do things like that today. There's a 17-year-old kid that's a great editor that knows how to take it, find it, and he has all the time in the world, D-Ram. You can't say stuff like that with CNN anymore. You can't. Someone like a 23-year-old Nick Shirley that's fearless with courage is going to come and say, let me investigate this a little bit more if this is true or not, if he ever said this or not. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tim Walz said it himself. Yeah. He called me and everybody else a white supremacist.
Yeah, yeah.
For simply just caring about fraud.
Yeah.
And that's why he's allowed fraud to happen, because he's so scared of being called a racist, being called an Islamophobe, and for saying things for what they are. That fraud is fraud. It's a fact that the Somali population inside Minnesota are committing 89% of the fraud.
89% of the fraud in Minnesota is coming from Somalis.
Yes.
I mean, what does that do to you? I mean, the question then becomes, from the White House, yesterday Eric Trump tweeted, I don't know if you saw this tweet, the best part about this tweet is the comments below. And Eric Trump, we're friends with Eric, but Eric tweets something and says, I don't know if you saw this, Rob. He says, man, people better start getting arrested right there. He said, people better start going to jail in Minnesota. And the most common retweet was, dude, your dad's the president. Like, meaning, you give him a call and do something. But the reality is, if an Eric Trump is saying, people better start going to jail. Don Jr. had you on, I think, last night. You were on the show last night with him. People simply want to see if anyone's going to be held accountable or not going into 2026. Do you think with the work you're doing, you're almost forcing them to have to make a decision of people getting arrested? And if not, have you started seeing people getting arrested? Like when you went to Minnesota, did you see the government there as well?
Yeah.
Go knocking on doors?
Yeah, and that was directly because of my YouTube video and because of the video that went viral on X. So when have you ever seen a piece from a journalist, from a YouTuber, that's created such a change where literally within hours they launch a full-fledged investigation to go and crack down on the fraud?
Is this one of them?
Yes.
Okay, Rob, can you play this? What did they find here? What's this one?
They're just going door to door, just looking for asking people about fraud. So I guarantee inside this business, there's probably a transportation company that's also labeled there. There could be a home healthcare business there. There could be an adult daycare, and it's a grocery store. So that's how these companies are operating. I went to so many places where they don't even have a real business.
Wow. So this could be 3 or 4 businesses.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. What else did you find, Rob? Where else? Have they made any major arrests? Have you seen people walking out getting arrested? I haven't seen any of that yet. I haven't seen any of that yet that's taking place. I
haven't seen any of that either. And that's what's so disappointing so far. When are we going to get some arrests? When are we going to get some people charged? When are we going to get some people deported? Like, are we really going to sit up here and just keep letting these people do this in the country instead of actually doing something about it? At some point, we just got to call this what it is. It's performative cruelty. That's just what it is. Like, they're just going to tweet about it. They're going to write about it, saying we need these people gone. We need these people denaturalized or whatever. And they're not going to actually do anything needed to get these people deported. Whereas we should be. We should be getting these people deported. We should be sending these people back home to Somalia. But why we haven't? That's a good question that I don't know yet.
I haven't seen the full-on, like the way 1980s when Rudy Giuliani went out there and a bunch of mobsters were getting arrested, 240-something of them getting arrested, coming out with handcuffs. We haven't seen that yet. I think that's what the American people want to see. They want to see some accountability taking place. By the way, you know that other video that we played where the guy said, Rob, can you go to the video of the guy claiming that Nick Shirley came at a time that nobody was here, and that's not fair because the time is this, and I'm here, there's kids here every day, I've been here for 8 years, there's always kids here, there's kids here. There's a video right there, that guy right there. So watch this video. Go ahead.
What would you say to Nick Shirley, the YouTuber, if he was standing in front of you?
Yo, this guy's physiognomy is wild, bro. Holy crap, this guy's physique, bro. I'm telling you, they all look like this. They all look like this. You can't tell me the Somalians don't have the same physiognomy, bro. Look at this, bro. The receding hairline, the forehead. What the, bro? What the? This looks like, I'm telling you, these are pirates. These are real life pirates. There's nothing that fits the description of a pirate than looking like this.
something against the rhetoric. If you're going to be a journalist, just have a moral compass. Like, do what you do correctly. If you catch business that are fraud, no one here is with that. Or, like, we don't support that as a community. I don't support that myself. I was born and raised here. I'm not for fraud. Like, the notion that, hey, a certain batch of somebody got caught, so all of us support it, it's like, no one, in any community, any mishaps that happen, the rest of the community obviously doesn't want that to happen. It's a statement on all of our name, as you guys can see. We don't want that to happen. We don't take part in that. We don't like that. We don't want that in our communities. But just to say, hey, a certain company got caught, so they must all do it, I feel like that's what he's doing.
89%, buddy.
1 to 10 p.m. may not be your typical daycare hours, so can you explain why it is
the reason
during these hours?
for that is we're after school hours. So most of our clients, not most of our clients, all of our clients is after school hours. So schools, earliest dismissal would be 2:15 to 2:30ish, and the latest dismissal would be up to like 4:30ish.
You said either 11 and 5. That's what you said.
Yeah, I went at 11 in the morning, and then I went back the next day at a later time. And what's interesting is when he's out talking and doing this, simultaneously at the exact same time, the Commissioner of Children is saying that daycare was closed a week ago. I filmed my video, the first one, on December 16th, when it was still operating.
The first video was shot December 16th.
December 16th.
December 26th.
Yes.
Okay.
So it wasn't filmed over winter break. It was filmed
10 days before Christmas, 9 days
Yes,
before.
and so it's still operating as a business according to the Commissioner of Children.
Got it. And by the way, isn't this the same location that in the first 42-minute show that you did, a neighbor's like, I've never seen kids here?
Yes, a man who's been living there for 8 years.
It's very important because, and you can tell that guy's just being straight up like, no, I've never seen anybody here before. I'll find a time for you, Rob, if you want to look for it.
It's timestamped on my YouTube.
Okay.
Just
go to on your YouTube.
Yeah,
go to
the
YouTube
channel. So
it's about at what do you guys? Oh, that's taking place here in Minnesota.
Go to 16:30.
I don't think any.
Okay.
And but basically, this guy's been living there for 8 years. He's never seen a single child.
Press skip right to the right. Okay. If you go
one more minute up.
I'll fast forward or behind?
Forward.
Keep going. Keep going. This is the lady that thinks you're ice.
Yes. And by the way, they also spelled Leering wrong, and they also spelled Nicolette wrong. These guys are incompetent.
Pause it for a second. Pause it for a second. And by the way, they responded to why the Leering Center. They said the printing company made that mistake. And then the Rob asked the question, said, if they made a mistake, why'd you put them in the first place? And then they said they went back and they were going to change it
for 8 years.
We're also going to look at that too as well. It's funny enough, they did come and change the sign. It's going to be on Nick Shirley's X. I have that pulled up there top of one of my tabs.
For 8 years.
It's very funny.
They made the mistake and it was going to get changed, but what happened, Rob?
It was too cold outside for them to come and swap the signs outside for 8 years.
Yeah. Okay, so but watch this. So that same place where the man says, for 8 years, kids are here all the time. This is what a neighbor said of what he's seen at this place. Go ahead, Rob.
Have you ever seen children at that daycare center right there? Yeah, it's right there. It says the child. You've never seen daycare.
I haven't seen one yet.
We're going to educate you on something. So what do you think about this daycare center? They spelled learning wrong. They received over $1.9 million this year alone, and they're supposed to have 99 children here.
I don't see it.
Have you ever seen any children here?
None, not at all. None.
This year they got 1.9 million. Last year they got 1.5 million of your tax money for 99 children. We just want to know where are the kids?
Right.
Where are the children?
I don't see them. I've been here since 2017. I haven't seen anybody like that.
Never seen a child here.
No, not at all.
I've already seen this, so you guys can go watch that on my other episode. I'll go ahead and link that to you guys in a little bit, but this one right here is important. Actually, let me go over a little bit.
Am I going crazy, or is this the same guy? The manager of the infamous Learning Center in Minneapolis, also one of the guys that was dancing in the back of Mayor Jacob Frey's.
Now, this one right here is important. So that manager that was speaking on the camera, apparently, he was also at Jacob Frey's election party right afterwards, dancing in the background. It's very funny, like how Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minnesota, is so very much catering to a bunch of these fucking Somali people so hard. He goes and eats their food, and on camera you can tell he's so very disgusted by the food that he wants to throw it up. And now he's got these people literally at his election party dancing around his background, and then he does a video speaking well, he doesn't speak in Somali, I don't believe, as a voiceover. But these people are so cooked to these Somalians that they would do anything to get their support when it comes to votes and somehow money, even though the community is supposed to be one of the less well-funded community because of how much welfare they're on.
Election victory video, the one that went super viral where he thanks his constituents in Somali for re-electing him last month. Abraham Ali claims to be the manager of the Quality Leering Center and says that there is no fraud going on whatsoever there. He very well may just have a doppelganger who happens to look just like him that lives in the very same city he lives in, or he could be one of the Somali community leaders who is working with local electeds to keep some of these fraud schemes going. But that would just be crazy, right? I could be totally wrong to assume this, but he's got a very unique face and hairline.
Without a certain method about a certain group.
I mean, he looks so similar to this guy going... Speaking, it would make sense that someone running a fraudulent business would have a vested interest in who is in control politically in the city where they are running said fraudulent business. And Jacob Frey is no stranger to simping for Somalia.
My God.
He even puts out campaign videos in Somali.
My God.
Maaga Jacob Frey. Minneapolis.
And the cherry on top is that...
Okay, so that is him speaking in Somali. I wasn't sure at first because I've seen It's him speaking it. Well, bruh.
Governor Tim Walz, after being radio silent, finally comes out and puts out a statement days later, just a few minutes ago. And what does he do? He blames Trump. Trump keeps letting fraudsters out of prison. I'm curious, do you guys think this is the same guy? Because
this is the same guy that went up there like a spokesperson. It's the same guy that's celebrating with the mayor. Has the mayor's office at all reached out to you?
No, they're actually, one guy even said, because I made this t-shirt, he said, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. He said, this is perfect to be able to like basically sue me. Perfect evidence.
That you put that out there, the leering Senate 1-800-FRAUD?
Yeah, 1-800-FRAUD. And they're like, this caught your attention. I'm like, well, first off, if I did you guys a favor because it's actually learning, so I have the right to use leering.
That is so funny.
But think about it. You literally have somebody who's partying with the mayor coming out and talking about the fraud, and they just magically show up and they start bussing in children. Yeah, they literally start bussing in children. And while the commissioner of children saying, we closed that place a week ago, that guy, I don't know who he is. He's probably getting paid to cover face. He's the spokesperson for this mayor right now, trying to make him look good. And his time's up. And I even tried to confront him. I went to the daycare. He was there. I said, all right. I was like, you have a perfect opportunity to talk to me right now. Come debunk all the claims. I want to talk to you. I'll give you the mic. He ran inside the daycare. I was like, come out here.
You have that video?
Yes, I have the video.
So this is the yesterday visit that you went to?
The daycare. Yes. I went to the daycare. He was there. I said, oh, awesome. Let me ask you some questions. You have the perfect opportunity to debunk everything. And he goes inside, and I get a middle finger from a lady inside. And he goes and hides behind the door. Wow. So that guy, I gotta say allegedly apparently, but that guy definitely is in on the fraud. He's partying with the mayor.
So then that means there's the mayor in on the fraud.
100%. They all are. If you look at all the records of these companies, that daycare center's had multiple violations over the past few years. Multiple violations. I think upwards of 10 violations. But yet, even if they were closed, they still received $1.9 million.
That is just...
And why would you ever put a child in there when there's only one door, it's completely blacked out, there's no windows, there's no playground. It's just a place for fraud.
Yeah, I mean, my mind goes to a lot of different places. Fraud, safety for kids. Rob, what is this one here?
This is the woman that you spoke about, the education commissioner?
Yes, the commissioner of children.
Where she talks about the daycare being closed, but they're also showing people going into the daycare on the same day.
Let me see it.
Is there fraud going on here? No, it's a video. I just want to know. What's your response?
What's the problem?
Huh?
Get the out of here.
What's your response to the allegations? Is there fraud going on here? And is there children? That's all.
Don't start people here.
We are aware of a video that's being circulated that has gained local and national attention about child care centers in Minnesota. While we have questions about some of the methods that were used in the video, we do take the concerns that the video raises about fraud very seriously. Each of the facilities mentioned in the video has been visited at least once in the last 6 months as part of our typical licensing process.
Once?
And in fact, our staff are out in the community today to visit each of these sites again so that we can look into the concerns that were raised in the video. So I won't go into any detail about whether or not any of these have any open investigations. I will share that our team was notified that Quality Learning Center just over a week ago, and I believe the details that were given at that time were around space concerns, and that's what was shared. The previous one I mentioned that had been closed.
You give somebody $1.9 million, and you only visit that place once every 6 months, and you're surprised that fraud is happening?
Yes, and then now they're like, oh, we're going to start sending people to go look at them. Well, obviously they're going to start putting children inside the daycares. And the other complaint people had on the internet was, oh, he went during winter break. No, actually went December 16th. Right now they're in winter break and they're putting children inside the daycare. So what does that say?
That's right.
So their claims are retarded.
That is a very good point. Meaning, if they're doing it now, they're doing it to hide, because the 16th would be the time where people are not on break. You need a daycare to be available. By the way, have you seen Ilhan Omar say anything about this?
No, I have not. She's silent. Tim Walz was silent for 3 days.
Until he was forced to say something, and he said this is based on Trump because he's letting prisoners out. So Ilhan Omar recently said something about, look, if they have to kick me out, I'm not afraid. I will go back to Somalia. I'm not an 8-year-old where you're going to scare me. I don't think it's that one. If you type in, that's the one right there. Yeah. Watch this one. 17 seconds. Go ahead, Rob.
I mean, I have no worry. I don't know how they take away my citizenship and like deport me, but I don't even know like why that's such a scary threat. Like I'm not the 8-year-old who escaped war anymore. I'm grown. My kids are grown. Like I can go live wherever I want. I mean, I have.
Yeah. So I wonder how this is going to tie her, because her and Tim Walz needs her. She doesn't need him. I have a feeling that if one of them throws the other one under the bus, the other one's going down with them, period.
Yeah, and Tim Walz, he's going to have to do one or two things because he's running for re-election right now. Well, and first, Ilhan Omar, her net worth has skyrocketed from negative to $30 million since.
How? Nobody knows. They're saying it's her husband. They're saying different things, but nobody knows.
So if that's true, she's doing some pretty dang good returns on whatever she's receiving, $174,000 a year. But Tim Walz will have to do one of two things. He will either resign and try to flee and not take accountability, or he'll be stupid enough to continue his run for re-election and most likely be imprisoned.
So run a poll, Rob. Which is more likely to happen? Tim Walz resigns, Tim Walz goes to jail, Tim Walz stays in office, and what another option do you want to put on there?
Or nothing happens.
Or nothing happens, yeah.
And I hope, like, everyone's like, we need it now, but we want them to come in with such solidified evidence that they can just go and, boom, bring the case against him.
Yeah, I hope that's what's happening. I hope the reason why Cash has been quiet after that one tweet that he sent out and they haven't done a press conference, I hope the reason why it's so quiet is because they're about to do something. You know what I'm saying? I hope they're about to right there. Okay, so check this out. How many votes? Let's see what the... Okay, so 1,600 votes. Let's say 2,000 votes already. Wow, 49% is saying nothing's going to happen. That is unbelievable. 24% think he resigns. 15% he goes to jail. 12% he is reelected. But nearly 3,000 votes, and half the people think nothing's going to happen to him. Do you agree with these guys?
I mean, I sure hope not. Like, we hope that nothing happens. We hope that something happens.
Accountability happens.
Yes, well, some form of accountability. Because if I stole $100,000, or if I stole $5,000 from the government, or if you don't pay your taxes right, they're going to come after you.
They're going to come after you. For $5,000, they're going to come after you. Let alone billions of dollars. 4,000 votes, and still they're saying 49% nothing happens. That is unbelievable. That people don't think, well, let me see if we run that same exact, if people on X feel the same, I'm going to run to a poll, same exact way, Rob, on my personal one, which is more likely to happen. Can you do me a favor, Rob, and have PBD Podcast retweet it? Just keep that right there so I can write the same thing. Tim Walz resigns. Okay, Walz resigns. So Ilhan Omar, nobody from the camp has reached out to you at all?
No.
Have you got any threats? Like actual death threats?
Yeah, well, in person and also...
Can you tell me about that? Like, are they messaging you saying, we're going to get you? What are they saying to you?
Yeah, like they're saying, oh, like, Kirked. You're going to be Kirked.
You're going to be Kirked. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, like you're the next, you'll be the next Kirk. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Because it's not even, like, I hate what's happening right now. Like, I feel bad for my family, honestly, because it's like, yeah, like, we didn't do anything wrong. And yet you guys are coming after me like I'm some sort of villain, right? So I'm like, my little sister's getting phone calls. I'm like, why are you guys doing this?
Your little sister's getting phone calls?
Yeah, from like the news. I'm like, hey, don't talk to my family. I mean, some news in India, they doxed my home, they doxed my dad, it was really weird. I haven't even told my dad about that because I just don't want to even bother him about it.
Well, Dad, you know now.
But like they put it, like it's just like, are you guys kidding me? Like, why are you guys?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was doing some in the back right quick, doing some sound stuff affecting right now. Yeah, but anyways, so far, pretty much I think we covered everything. Let's see. I don't think there's much else to really go over much. You know, I'll just go ahead and go to the X portion of the show now. Yep. All right. So let's go. The holy smokes. The Somalis have registered 6 healthcare businesses in one single warehouse building. Let me repeat: 60 healthcare businesses in one freaking building. It's so blatant and criminal. Let's go ahead and check this out right quick.
This building right behind me has 22 different home and community-based healthcare companies registered in the building. It's only 4 floors. I walked in there yesterday trying to find a number of them. Many of them are appear to be just window fronts, door fronts, with nobody behind. So same story, different location. We're here in St. Paul at this building, which looks like a warehouse or a dilapidated old building. Inside this building, there are 60 registered home and community healthcare organizations inside this one building. We're here in Northeast Minneapolis, and we're at a building that I believe is on the radar of authorities. They have questions about it. A lot of the businesses in here are home healthcare businesses. Of the total businesses, there's 37. 17 of them are home healthcare businesses. There's just layer upon layer upon layer of fraud throughout this city, Jessica. As for whether Governor Walz is going to testify before the Oversight Committee, that remains to be seen. We asked him at his office if he was going to testify, and we have yet to hear back.
Sorry about that. I was doing something. Probably about to go buy me some new headphones right quick. Some closed back ones, because like my sound keeps leaking into the mic. That's why you guys hearing like this kind of like misplaced sound. So I'm just gonna buy me some new earbuds right now. But anyways, let's continue on right quick. All right. So go ahead and play this. Lame photo. Fake news held. Let's see. Before that, the fake news held a struggle session over Nick Shirley complaining we have ethnics and standards. You get double checked and triple checked. They went to the centers visited by Nick Shirley, and the Somalis promised they did nothing wrong.
Right. In the legacy media and in bigger institutions, we do have ethics and standards and that we have to adhere to, and we get double-checked and triple-checked. Allison, what are you and your colleagues at the Star Tribune doing to weather the onslaught of attention, and how are you breaking through the misinformation?
I think we're, trying to do what journalists around the globe do and continue to dig for the truth, dig for information. Two of my colleagues visited the daycares highlighted in this video and requested information from the state. None of the owners of these facilities have been charged with any kind of felony. There was a case where the state had shut off payments because of an allegation of fraud against one of the facilities. That facility sued, and the state is seeking to have that case dismissed. But like I said, we're just, trying to do our jobs and continue to look for accurate information on this crisis rather than spread information that's not verified.
All right, so let's continue on. President Trump's HHS told Tim Walz the money spigot is being cut off. We are not going to spend money in Minnesota until we're confident there is no fraud. Let's take a look.
We're also trying to stop new money from going out at the same time as the investigation. So, for example, at the beginning of December, Dr. Oz sent an excellent letter to Governor Walz demanding a corrective action plan on Medicaid fraud. The state just finally delivered the plan a couple of days ago, and we're reviewing it. We are not going to spend money on Minnesota until we are confident there is no fraud. We are doing something similar, as you said, on child care, demanding receipts. We are going to make sure that the state of Minnesota and Governor Walz is held accountable for ensuring that there is no fraud, both looking backwards and looking forwards. We're also trying to stop new money from going out at the same time as the investigation. So, for example, at the beginning of December, Dr. Oz sent an excellent letter to Governor Walz demanding a corrective action plan on Medicaid fraud. The state just...
All right, so let's go on right here. Holy smokes, the Democrat governor of Maine gave state contracts to Somali's NGO that registered migrants to vote in 2022 election. That Somali's NGO has been caught committing Medicaid fraud. Wow. Jeanette Mill. Oh, I'll go ahead and watch the video. Let's see. It's not just Minnesota, it's everywhere. So let's go ahead and check this out.
Nonprofits and forming Medicaid agencies. The particular agency in question is called Gateway Community Services. And it's a for-profit company that just has a 501c3 filing in order to accept grant money when you need a C3 filing. But it has an office on Canal Street in Lewiston. And I was actually on site there investigating and doing some monologues in front of the building when about 15 HSI agents rolled up with what appeared to be a search warrant. It looked like they were coming there to take away computers and filing cabinets. And what's interesting about that building, Guy, is it's kind of a nexus for a host of migrant-run NGOs. There's the Maine Immigrant Right Coalition there, Generational NOR, a bunch of home health care agencies that also bill Medicaid, or as we call it in Maine, MaineCare. So this is a building that serves as kind of a catch-all space for tons of migrant organizations. And another thing I would say about this particular location and Gateway Community Services is that it's not just a Somali Medicaid fraud.
All right, let's go to this one right here. Breaking. Trump administration just confirmed Minnesota has zero receipts to the federal government on suspended child care payments. This is even more evidence of fraud.
Jim, thank you so much for coming on. Looking forward to talking with you about this. So earlier this week, you and HHS announced that you're pausing all child care payments to the state of Minnesota, and you asked the state to start providing proof for those expenses. You want receipts, you want photos, you want justification for why they need that money. Has the state given you anything yet?
We are still waiting. We told them on Tuesday we need receipts. We're not going to send money to Minnesota, to the state, until we know that it's not going to fraud, and the burden of proof is on them to prove it. So we've asked them to send receipts, and we're eager to review them.
And still nothing yet?
Nothing yet.
Wow. So we just heard in Garrett's report right there, we started off with all the allegations of fraud within the Medicaid program, child care. People knew about that. Then it comes out that the SBA thinks there's potentially upwards of 7,000 fraudulent cases for small business loans during COVID in Minnesota. What the heck is going on in that state?
It just looks worse every week. Everything we learn looks worse than what we knew the previous week in all these programs, in Medicaid, in child care, and across the government. We are taking an all-department approach to stopping fraud, to ensuring that we're not spending money fraudulently in Minnesota, and the rest of the government is doing the same.
So one of the biggest questions is, how was this allowed to happen for so long, right? The Washington Examiner did a little bit of digging, went through some campaign finance reports. Here's an article they put out. It essentially says that Governor Tim Walz received $10,000 from donors who are tied to these Somali-run daycare centers. It says in part, quote, Walz received nearly $10,000 in campaign contributions from supporters connected to these Somali-operated daycare centers. My question to you is, should Governor Walz recuse himself in any of these ongoing investigations?
Well, in investigations maybe, but we're also trying to stop new money from going out at the same time as the investigation. So, for example, at the beginning of December, Dr. Oz sent an excellent letter to Governor Walz demanding a corrective action plan on Medicaid fraud. The state just finally delivered the plan a couple of days ago, and we're reviewing it. We are not going to spend money on Minnesota until we are confident there is no fraud. We are doing something similar, as you said, on child care, demanding receipts. We are going to make sure that the state of Minnesota and Governor Walz is held accountable for ensuring that there is no fraud, both looking backwards and looking forwards.
So since you made that announcement this week about pausing the payments, I'm sure you've seen some of the local politicians out there and some of the activists have been holding press conferences decrying the fact that the money spigot has been turned off. They're not happy about it. What's your response to them?
We are ready to approve payments very rapidly. They just have to spend the receipts. We're not delaying anything. Send us the receipts. Send us the.
All right, we'll move on right there. Well, that's Japan. Wow, the new socialist mayor of Seattle, Katie Wilson, just got physical with independent journalist Cam Higbee after he peacefully confronted her about fraud. He'd push. She literally started pushing me away. These people are disgusting. I don't like Cam Higbee much, but let's go ahead and
said that everyone has a place in Seattle. Do, as you put it, extremist influencers have a place in Seattle? Who, John? Or me? What is your administration going to do to investigate? No question, sir. No question. No question. You can't answer a question. You get a photo and then you're out. We're not doing press availability. We're not doing press availability today. That'll be later this week. I need you to move. Wilson, what? Call the people looking at the Somali daycare fraud. You all follow up. Thank you. Have a good one. Take care. All right. Take care. So we just stood in line to get a question for newly inaugurated Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson. As I got up there, I asked, because she said in her speech that everyone has a place in Seattle, and I said, does that include, as she put it, extremist influencers in her statement? She looked at Jonathan and she said, well, there's one standing right there. And then I said, well, what's your guy? She's the guy. What is your administration going to do to investigate Somali daycare fraud? And she literally started pushing me away and said, we're not taking questions at this time. I said, you're the newly elected mayor of Seattle. What do you mean you're not taking?
Justine actually acquiring radio stations is no, it's not. Like JB Pritzker, making fun of him. Have the Somalis been a problem? American woman, I'm citizen. You know how hard it is to be in. You know how hard it's been to get a business loan. I went to the Somalians and their child care centers in Columbus, Ohio. Can you put me on? Help me? Guess what? They wasn't trying to help me. How are y'all getting the funding? Wouldn't give me the sauce. All they do is scam. They don't want any American to succeed. They only. Let's listen to this.
In case you was wondering, I could care less about them Somalians that's getting investigated for all of this child care fraud that they're doing, all this business fraud that's been going on. You know why? Because I'm an American citizen, and you know how hard it's been for me to get a business loan. And then you know what else? I even went to the Somalians because they have a lot of child care centers in Columbus, Ohio, and I was trying to figure out, how are y'all doing it? Like, can you put me on? Can you help me? And guess what? They wasn't trying to help me. I went in to like do an internship at one, and the girl was showing me around and all that, but I'm like, let's get to the nitty gritty. How are y'all getting the funding? How are y'all doing this? wouldn't give me the sauce. So you know what? Clink, 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 clink. If it got to go that way, it got to go that way. And I just want to make this clear. I have nothing in general against the Somalian people at all. I don't care. Live your life freely as an.
All right, we don't need all the extra stuff. Right, quick. Don't need. Okay, so just in St. Paul, Minnesota's new. Well, not necessarily not Minnesota. It means new mayor. This has something to do with ice rates. Nothing to do about that. Ice flood, Minnesota as Scott's weighs Trump's tariffs. Well, this is live going on right now. It's official. There are now at least 10 fraud investigations in Tim Walz, Minnesota, after huge Somali fraud was exposed. But it's about to get worse. Tim launched his 20-week paid leave fraud that will leave Somalis and migrants scam the system. Cut off Minnesota. Let's listen to this. Then we're gonna move on to another. We're gonna move on to another one.
Well, there are now at least 10 federal investigations into the allegations of fraud in Minnesota. Hundreds of federal agents are on the ground, and the administration has now frozen more than $190 million to cut off the flow of some of the funding fraudsters have allegedly been getting rich off of. But Republican lawmakers are warning the state's next big source of fraud may have just launched with Minnesota's new paid leave policy. Under this billion-dollar program, almost every resident is eligible to take up to 20 weeks of paid leave a year to care for family or for medical reasons, while still getting a percentage of their salary on the taxpayer's dime, up to $1,420 a week.
We are collecting stories already ahead of the program taking effect of where people are trying to scam the system. I've already gotten several whistleblower reports on it.
There's no guardrails. It's going to be ridden with fraud, just like we see in our other systems. The honor system is not the best way to distribute all this money.
In response to those concerns, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has really hammered on the fact that this bill was pushed through the legislature without any Republican support. And despite the growing scandal around all of the alleged fraud already taking place, he argues this paid leave policy has adequate protections.
All right, that's that. Let's move on to Nick Shirley's X and see what's going on over there. Let's go down a little bit. Breaking: Somali daycare in Minneapolis are now making false 911 calls on journalists claiming they're in grave danger, causing Minneapolis PD to respond at high speeds with lights and sirens. Per MPD source, arrest them for making false reports. Minneapolis PD. This just occurred at Angel Rose and me and at a, I guess he meant to say Somali daycare located directly next to Somali, I bet, yeah, Somali daycare located directly next door to the Somali daycare, who said they were burglarized. MPD sources tell me this is increasingly occurring now. This is an attempt by Somali fraudsters to have journalists falsely arrested for exposing their fraud. Callers would say something along the lines of they have a gun or they're reaching for something in their pocket in order to get MPD to put innocent lives in danger. Racing to the scene. I will be having my lawyers submit FOIA requests to these 911 calls tonight. Hold these people accountable. Let's listen in.
If they're on your property, they have to leave them out.
That's that. Okay. Now this is the one right here I really wanted to react to. So this is from Nick Shirley when he went there on January 1st. Let's go ahead and listen in.
What's up? I'm just here to wish everybody a happy new year from the Quality Leering Center here tonight. You want to say anything to everybody? You're trespassing, sir. Huh? You're trespassing in my country.
Live, sir. Live, please.
Live. What do you mean live? I'm living well.
Yeah.
I'm on the sidewalk. What are you talking about?
We are on our parking lot.
Okay. What time do you close?
None of your business.
None of my business? Okay. All right. Well, happy New Year anyway.
You too. Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy. Probably won't be a great one for you, though, I'll be honest with you.
First name, bank, ID, R-A-H-I-M. Last name, Ali, K-O-I. 612.
It's a rental, bro, but I mean, that's fine. If it makes you feel better.
That's the most important one. Let me go find where he saw them changing the signs. Look like ICE is doing a raid up there now. I was so funny to see this too as well. Because Nick Shirley was there when they were trying to change the sign. There's a Somali woman standing in Minnesota daycare, pretends like she's breaking down in tears after she reads fraud is bad off her script. This is just beyond the protect. Yeah, that one was actually pretty crazy too as well. All right, here it is. Okay, so this one's important.
All right, a little update here. After 14 hours, the 10-plus military-aged men from the Quality Learning Center have been unsuccessful in figuring out how to take the stickers off their address sign to correct the spelling. So they just went ahead and put up 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper to spell the street address right. just incredible stuff. I mean, this is exactly who you want your kids to be luring from right here. All right, a little update here. After 14 hours, the 10-plus military-aged men from the Quality Learning Center have been unsuccessful in figuring out how to take the stickers off their address sign to correct the spelling. So they just went ahead and put up 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper to spell the street address right. Just incredible stuff. I mean, this is exactly who you want your kids to be.
All right. I think there's really not much more to look over because pretty much some of it's all the same. But I think we covered everything we need to cover right now with this. All right, so I will be back tomorrow, probably on Saturday. Give you guys a Saturday stream to make up for. I wanted to stream twice a day, but it's probably not going to happen because if I do go live, it's going to probably be late because I have to go somewhere right now. So I will be back on tomorrow morning. This time I'll try to get up at 11 on time. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. I want to thank you guys for joining today's stream, of course. We had a lot to cover. You know, tomorrow we're going to be breaking down more about what this really means between this war, this impending war with Iran and Israel again. And if there's some more stuff that breaks about the Somali stuff, I'll cover it. But I doubt that. Nick Shirley says he's working on a part 2 of his investigation. So when that drops, of course, we'll cover it. But till then, I want to let you guys have a good rest of your day. And thank you for joining me today on the show. Make sure you leave a comment, you know, and subscribe if you're a new viewer. So have a good one.